And we're back at you with the Sausage Bowl podcast, episode 13. Number 13. Holy smokes. That's right. 13 episodes already. And we love doing this for you. But welcome into the Sausage Bowl podcast. Glad to have you back. As usual, I'm your host, Danny, and I'm here with my co host, Cosmo.
I'm not greeting these ungrateful audience members.
All right. Well,
We'll get into that later.
audience, take that not as a greeting. He is not talking to you guys. But
Yeah,
all
you're on
right. Well,
timeout.
a crazy week in fantasy. We had Thanksgiving mixed in there. We had Thanksgiving games. We had Sunday games. We had Monday night games. So, first off, Cosmo, how was your Thanksgiving? Did you get a lot of food?
Yeah, it was good, but man, I gotta admit, like fantasy, like it like takes up your mind and your headspace. Like I was at my grandma's place this weekend, and like half the time, instead of like visiting with my family and like just enjoying like being in with them, I was like just constantly checking my ESPN app. I was like, damn it, like watching freaking Kamara only get 10 points, and I was like just like panicking the whole time,
Oh my
rather than
God.
it's taken over my life. I don't
I
know.
know. Yeah, it can get pretty obsessive. And I remember I was chilling with my family all day. We get home for the Falcons Saints game, and I'm just sitting there watching it, and I'm just like, what the heck are you doing, Steve Sarkisian? These plays are awful. And I'm like, Matt Ryan's throwing picks and Julio's fumbling and Matt Ryan's fumbling. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like, this is so stupid. And it just like ruined my whole night. Like, luckily they ended with a good amount of points in garbage time. But because I played Duncan this week, and I was projected to beat him because he had, Gurley on bye, Goff on bye, Robert Woods on bye, his kicker on bye. So I was projected to beat him by like 20 points. And so, but I was like, okay, his bench is still strong, but this is what always happens to me when I'm like vastly projected to beat someone. They always have one person that pops off like they're not supposed to and makes it a close game. So then Juju Smith-Schuster all of a sudden drops 30 points on me, and Duncan's within like 5 points, and I'm just like, holy crap! But yeah, so it can get so frustrating. But yeah, it was a good weekend. My company has Thursday and Friday off, so that was nice. I got to stay in Wiley all weekend.
Ooh.
So that was nice. But how was your weekend in fantasy?
It went good. It was a critical game. This was, do or die. Basically, an early playoff game for me. If I didn't beat Aaron, and we'll get into that later. But it was I probably would have missed the playoffs. It would have been really unlikely for me to make it. So I was able to pull off that W. I'm riding high for 1 week until in a couple weeks it's inevitably gonna go down. But I'm gonna enjoy these few last precious moments I have of Sausage Bowl 6 and cherish them while I still have them.
Yeah, I played Duncan this week, and it was a lot closer matchup than I would have liked. But Duncan's bench is just really strong, so it helped him out. But yeah, it got really close. I needed this win to have any sort of chance at a bye, and I know I have a high tiebreaker, but if I had lost, that kind of also puts me in contention for what if somehow or what if it just happens to where Aaron wins last week, I lose last week, and all of a sudden Aaron has a better record than me, so it's like
Yeah.
it was like I kind of really needed this win, especially since Duncan was missing some of his best players. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, this one was, I don't want to say it was like a gimme, but my team was at full strength and his team wasn't. So it was kind of like I really needed to take advantage of this. But yeah, so it was a decent week. I remember, so Cosmo had texted me and was like, man, fantasy is just, it's so stressful sometimes, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I know it can get pretty stressful. What I usually do for those weeks is I just completely get rid of any possible notification on Sunday. So like I mute all of our group chats, I mute the Yahoo notification, I mute ESPN notification, I mute text conversations with people that might give me fantasy updates. Like I completely just cut myself off from the fantasy world, and like I only talk to my parents and Maddie, and I just run errands, do chores, play video games, whatever. I don't even watch any of the football games unless it's the Cowboys. But that's okay because I don't have any players on that team anyway, and usually the people that are playing, I don't have anyone. But yeah, so it's like I just cut myself off from it, and it actually makes the day way less stressful. You check at the end of the day, and if your team's up, whatever. If your team's down, you're just like, well, whatever. But so Cosmo was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that this week because I'm just getting really stressed out with this. I'm just gonna completely cut myself off. So the Sunday games start, and I'm just chilling, but I knew Cosmo was cut off from all his fantasy notifications. So I was like, a couple hours into the first game, I was like, you know what? I'll check on Cosmo's team and just see how he's doing. Like, I'm not going to send him any updates or anything, but I'll just see how he's doing. So I check in, and Christian McCaffrey already has like 35 points, and I'm just sitting there going, "Oh no, Cosmo's about to get stomped, dude!" Like, I saw that Kamara had 10 points, like someone else had only 10 points, and I was just like, "Oh no!" I was like, "This is horrible." He's gonna unmute all of his notifications at the end of the day. He's gonna see Christian McCaffrey with 35 points, who ended up finishing with like 41, just like totally crushing him. I was like, "This is gonna be so awful," and then luckily you were able to pull it out at the end. But
Yeah.
I know
Thankfully, I didn't have to go through the stress. By the time I like unmuted everything, it was already pretty
well,
rosy in my favor. But man,
what was
if I
your
would have saw that up,
reaction when you saw Christian McCaffrey's 41 points when you opened the
I,
app?
I was just like, "What the heck? Are you kidding me?" Like, of course it'd be the week against me, but I mean, that was bad. But then also, bad luck. Cough. Jacksonville defense getting 0 against
Yikes.
freaking Josh Allen. So I guess you got to take the good with the bad. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it was
know. Earlier in the year, it was like the number one rule was grab whatever defense is starting against Buffalo. Like you're going to get like 10, 15 points. But it kind
but
of started to
that's
change like halfway through the year. And I think people didn't quite realize. They just kept grabbing the defense that was going against Buffalo, and it wasn't working so well. And then it kind of turned into grab the defense that's against Oakland, and that one, is a little up and down. So now you got to do a
yeah,
little bit more research into which one you're playing and stuff like that, because Buffalo's no longer like an easy 10, 15 points from that. But
yeah. God's gift to fantasy, Nate Peterman, is no longer someone you can count on. So you gotta do your
yeah,
research there.
yeah. But all right, well, glad to hear the week went well, Thanksgiving well. I hope everyone's Thanksgivings went well as well. So let's get right into the news of the week with Anchorman Cosmo.
Where's that one drop that you had? Ow!
Oh shoot, I don't have that one on here. So here I
I'll
am.
just do it myself.
Ow!
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, out indeed. We had how many freaking injuries? I think almost every single player in the league ended up in the ER or something. I mean, people were dropping like flies today.
Oh
Like it
man.
was like Game of Thrones episode. People were just going down left and right. And we have a lot of injuries to discuss today. And you know what? This first one that's on our docket, I'm going to save this one for last because I think you got a lot to say about that one. You might want to marinate on that one. But let me just run through some of these other ones just to kind of show how bad this week was. First off, Andy Dalton is out for the season with a thumb injury. Don't really think anyone was playing Andy Dalton, but might have some implications for that Cincinnati offense. Jack Doyle and Marvin Jones, two guys that were on my team, are now placed on IR. Jack Doyle with a kidney injury, which that does not sound good at all.
Yikes.
I would not want my kidney to be malfunctioning like that. And Marvin Jones with a knee injury that I think's sidelining him the last couple of weeks. Both of them are out for the season, so great for me. I'm excited for that. And then finally, not finally, but also Marlon Mack is in the concussion protocol, left during week 12 and is questionable for week 13. But Danny, I think the biggest injury news of week 12, and I think one you definitely want to take some time and honor this guy, is Melvin Gordon. He is estimated out for the next 2 to 4 weeks with an MCL injury. We all saw your heartfelt message that you posted in the group chat. It moved me a lot. I almost went to tears reading that. But I'm gonna give you the floor to just honor this guy that's been your rock all season, and to do him justice, and to lay this guy out to rest.
Melvin. Melvin. My man. Melvin. I didn't know if you were going to play this weekend, Melvin. You were limited at practice, questionable. the team wanted to rest you because it was against the Arizona Cardinals, and everyone knows that's an easy W. So they just wanted to rest you. They wanted to keep you healthy for the playoffs. But like like my man does, he went up to him. He said, "No, I'm a warrior for this team. I need to be here for my brothers. I'm a play." And he convinced the organization to let him play, the coaches to let him play because he doesn't back down from a challenge. He's there for his team. He's not going to let his team go fight without him, except like week 8 against the Titans. But he's not going to let him go fight without him. He's not going to do that at all. He wants to be there for his team. So I was struggling. I was like, man, do I play him? What if he starts and gets pulled like because he tweaks his hamstring or something and he ends up with 4 points? Like I was like, I know I need to get this win against Duncan. Like, do I play him? Do I trust him? Do I put in one of my backups? And his game was at like 3, and a lot of my backups played at noon. So I was like, shoot, I got to make a decision. Do I keep on with Melvin? And so we're getting up close to the games, and I was like, you know what? Melvin's been here with me from the beginning. He's been my main dude. He's been my soulmate in fantasy. And man, dude, I was like, I'm going with him. I'm riding or dying with Melvin Gordon. So I kept him in my lineup. And the noon games start. Gus Edward gets like 11 points. I'm like, you know what? Good. I didn't need you. And then Tyler Boyd gets like 18 points. I'm like, shoot, that probably would have been a good start. But it's okay. I trust my boy Melvin. So then Melvin Gordon comes up at 3 o'clock, and they're like, he's active. He's playing. I'm like, yes, that's my dude. And then he gets in there. Started off a little rough, not that the first 5 minutes or so like didn't have great yards per carry, and I was like, oh man, this must not have been the best choice. I probably should have started Tyler Boyd, but no. I was like, you know what? I gotta believe in my dude. I gotta keep the faith. And what do you know? Next play, boom, 28-yard touchdown. I was like, oh, he's back. And so I go get lunch. I come back. All of a sudden, he's got another touchdown. He's already got like 18 points. So it didn't even matter if I started Tyler Boyd. I was like, yes, this is awesome. And then he like finished it up with a few more. He finished the first half with 19 and a half points or whatever. Goes into halftime. I'm like, okay, great. They're up 30 points on Arizona already. They're gonna bench him for the rest of the game. He's good. He's safe. He's healthy. He got me like 20 points. I'm happy. I believe in my boy. He paid out. He paid off. I was like, cool, they're going to rest him. They come out for the second half, and who's in on the first play? Melvin Gordon. I'm like, oh, shoot. Why is he in? Why is he in? This is not a good sign. This is not good. He's in. He was in there with Austin Eckler. I was like, oh my God, what are they going to do? This is something crazy is about to happen. They run a double reverse with Austin Eckler and Melvin Gordon. They toss it to Melvin Gordon, but the play was so broken down that the defender was already in the backfield. Melvin Gordon catches the ball, has no idea he's coming. And what does this little scumbag defender do? He dives for Melvin Gordon's knees to tackle him. So he hits his knee, takes him out at the knee, gets flipped over. So freaking dumb decision by the coaching staff to even keep him in the second half. Dumb decision by the play caller to do a double reverse and get my man injured. And scumbag defender, I don't even know his name, but I'm gonna find your name. And
Mike Hunt.
Mike Hunt. He went after his knees. Took him out. He's laying there. I'm on my knees, staring at the TV screen, starting to cry. I'm like, please don't do this to me, Melvin, please. They take him off the field. I'm like, no, please, no. And he's like kind of walking around, kind of limping a little bit. I'm like, oh man, okay, maybe he's okay, but they're definitely gonna bench him the rest of the game. I'm like, it's okay, he got me 20 points, it's all good. And then the sad news report comes out: MCL injury, out at least 2 weeks, but more likely a month. Pretty much done for fantasy. And I mean, the Chargers, I don't know if they've locked up a playoff spot yet, but they're looking like they're going to. Their schedule's not too tough from here on out. So they really don't need him. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just bench him for the entire rest of the regular season. But, you know, he's been with me through thick and thin. Melvin Gordon, he doesn't ask for anything. He doesn't need all this glory. He doesn't need to be, number one all the time like Todd Gurley. He doesn't need all the praise that he gets, number one pick. He doesn't need all this chatter from Le'Veon Bell. He doesn't need Christian McCaffrey being white, being a little white boy. He doesn't need that. He goes out there, he balls out, and he goes home. That's all he doesn't care. He's just doing it for his team. He's doing it for Whip My Nips. And he's my man. And I love you, Melvin Gordon. I love you. And I hope you get better. I want you to know that we're going to do this for you. I mean, my running backs are dropping like flies because they decided to punch people, but you know, don't worry. We're going to do this for you, Melvin. Every point scored from now on is going to be for you in your memory. And, maybe, just maybe we can lock up the bye and you happen to come back in like 2 weeks and we get you there back for week 15. But, uh, get healthy. Thank you for all you've done for our team this year. And we will do this for you and we will remember you as you were. So thank you, Melvin. And guaranteed, if I have the chance to draft you next year, I'm gonna take you next year. So don't you worry. You're gonna be back on with my nips, and we'll be riding or dying together. So, but thank you,
Damn.
Melvin, for all you've done for me this season, and you can rest now. You can rest now, my friend.
Damn, straight from the heart. That was I was really touched by that, Danny. We have actually set up a GoFundMe for Danny to get him through this hard time. So if you guys feel the need to donate,
Yeah,
I
please
will
send
link
me
you to
money.
that GoFundMe.
It will make
And
me feel
yeah,
better.
it'll go to my account, and then I'll make sure Danny gets it.
Yeah, I trust Cosmo.
So yeah, please donate. We need help a friend in a really dark time.
Yeah, but all right, on a better note, let's get right into the top players of the week. All right, week 12 had a lot of crazy scoring in it, a lot of unexpected scores as well. But all right, our top 5 quarterbacks of week 12, we got number 1, Deshaun Watson, 29.4 points. It's kind of been a while since he's been up here. Oh, wow, sorry. On Aaron's bench. And then we had number 2, Kirk Cousins, finally getting back into the top 5, 27.38 points for Akshay. Number 3, Dak Prescott, making, I think it's his first appearance of the year up in here, maybe not. 27.36 points on Taylor's bench. Josh Allen, 26.3 points for the free agency.
Is that a typo? That's gotta be a typo.
I think it is a typo because Josh Allen is a bust, right? So
Yeah.
not only do we have Josh Allen in the top 5, we also have Baker Mayfield coming in at number 5, 25.92 points for Aaron, streaming him while Pat Mahomes is on bye this week, but not enough to get Cosmo down. But yeah, it's kind of crazy seeing Josh Allen up in this list because everyone, was labeling him as a bust, like couldn't do anything in Buffalo, has no weapons, and then all of a sudden, he goes to the Jacksonville defense and just thrashes them. So, maybe it's actually a pretty bright future with Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Yeah, we'll see. I still am a little bit skeptical, and I think he's in probably the worst position possible to develop as a quarterback. But I wish him the best. That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, those are your top 5 quarterbacks of the week.
All right. Let me hit you with those top 5 running backs. Hit them really hard. Going number 1.
Oh, baby.
We have Christian McCaffrey with 41.2 points for Aaron.
Dang.
Almost made me blow a casket, but thankfully it didn't have to come to that. But F you, Christian McCaffrey.
Dude, he had like 120 yards rushing, like 112 yards receiving, and then like a touchdown on both of them or something like that.
Freaking.
Or like 3 touchdowns or something.
I just freaking bitch. That's what Christian McCaffrey is.
Just like Mitch.
Anyways, different kind of bitch. I respect Mitch. I don't respect Christian McCaffrey. But anyways, number 2, Saquon Barkley, 29.7 points for Taylor. We'll marinate on that later, but a great performance there from Lord Saquon. Number 3, we have my man Nick Chubb with 26.3 points, helping me out big time, getting that win. Number 4, we have Leonard Fournette with 24.3 points for Danny, and probably could have gotten more if he didn't freaking punch a guy in the.
Dude, I know he got ejected in the start of the 3rd quarter for punching the dude, which he wasn't even in on the play. Like, honestly, I don't even know what happened. Like, he was on the sideline. Dante Moncrief catches a ball, and then like him and the defender are wrestling over the ball, and then for some reason like bench is clear, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Leonard Fournette's just wailing on the dude up against the side of the arena. Like the camera's like not even focused on them. They're like looking at one, and all of a sudden like you see someone point, and the camera just turns, and Leonard Fournette's just like pounding on this guy's helmet, which I don't even understand why players think that's a good idea, but he's just like pounding on his helmet.
Yeah, where the freaking heck does this guy get off? Freaking Leonard Fournette. Like he First, he has the nerve to blow his hamstring 2 times, like cost his team like 10 freaking games. And now he has the freaking audacity to go and get himself suspended, freaking unnecessarily punch a player. This guy's a freaking bum.
I know he
I hate
probably
him
could have
for
finished with like 30 points or something, maybe more than that for the week. But got
suck
ejected
my
in the
dick,
third
Leonard
quarter.
Fournette.
Dude, what if he can see the future and he saw that next week's matchup against Indianapolis, he was going to get injured because one of their defenders was going to hit him at his knees or something, and so he's like, "Crap, I got to get ejected for next game. How do I do this? Like, oh, let me just go punch a guy." But he didn't want to hurt the guy, so he let him keep his helmet on. See, that's the whole thing. He didn't want to hurt the guy, so he kept his helmet on. And he punched him. He knew he was going to get ejected, and then he doesn't get injured. Maybe he can see the future.
I think there's a greater likelihood that Hugh Jackson will win Coach of the Year one year than that happening.
All right, good point.
Anyways, last but not least, at number 5, we have Kenyon Drake with 24.1 points on Brandon's bench. And damn, what a frustrating player. That's all I got to say about Mr. Drake.
Like, if you want to get the most out of Kenyon Drake, you have to start him every week because there's literally zero rhyme or reason to when he has his blow-up games. It could be against, like, the toughest running back matchup. It could be against the easiest running back matchup. It could be when, like, literally everyone else on the running back depth chart could be injured, and he will score, like, 1 point. Like, it's insane. And so to get the most out of him, you have to start him every week. But that means, 70% of the time he's gonna hurt your team. So, but yeah, it's kind of annoying with him.
That's brutal, but life will go on. Danny, hit us with these top 5 wide receivers.
Well, the first one, I'm sure most of us are pretty excited about actually in real life, but our number 1 wide receiver on the week is Amari Cooper with 34 points for Akshay. That's right, Amari Cooper, 34 points, and actually is doing very well ever since coming to Dallas, having that the defense focus on the run game as well and allowing him to have a lot of one-on-one matchups has been really helping him, even against some pretty tough cornerbacks. We'll get into that in a little bit. Number 2, Juju Smith-Schuster, almost breaking my heart, 31 points for Duncan. Had an amazing 97-yard touchdown catch and actually tied the record with himself because earlier, I think last year, he had a 97-yard touchdown.
Shoot.
So I think it was I think he tied his career record. But I don't think there was any sort of like NFL record or anything like that. I think the NFL record is a 99-yard touchdown. But number 3, Adam Thielen getting back to form, 22.5 points for Cosmo. It was kind of a shaky start for Adam Thielen. I noticed he didn't have a whole lot of points at the beginning, but then kind of caught fire towards the end. Finished with 22.5 points. Very nice week for Adam Thielen. Number 4, Corey Davis, 21.5 points for Taylor. Another guy where you cannot possibly predict how him or the Titans are gonna do. You don't really want those players on your team. You just cannot predict at all how they're going to do. But
after Titans.
Number 5, Tyler Lockett, 19 points for Taylor. So 2 top 5 wide receivers for Taylor, a top 5 running back for Taylor. And so that kind of contributed to his week, we'll get into in a little bit. But Cosmo, why don't you finish us off with the top 5 tight ends this week?
Coming in at number 1, Eric Ebron with 19 points for Akshay, proven once again to be a pretty solid move by Akshay there. Coming in at number 2, we have Mr. Zach Ertz with 18.6 points for your team, Danny, bouncing back very nicely after a stinker last week. Number 3, we have my so-called abusive husband, David Njoku, at 3rd with 14.8 points. Unfortunately, was on my bench, but thankfully did not matter. Number 4, we have Vernon Davis coming back from the retirement home with 14.3 points. Yeah, for real, like freaking zombie. Well, he is a free agent, so didn't really contribute to anyone. And then finally, coming in at number 5, we have Jonnu Smith with 13.3 points. And actually killed my chances of making the playoffs in one of my other leagues. Not salty about that at all.
Ouch. Dude, the funny thing about Jonnu Smith, well, actually, so 2 things. David Njoku's touchdown, if you guys have not watched it yet, you should go watch it. He like crowd surfs into the end zone. It's really funny. But Jonnu Smith, they went to him on the first drive. It was like 3 straight plays. And the first one, he got like 10 yards. Second one, he got got like 15 yards, and then the third one was his like 61-yard touchdown. And so everyone's sitting here thinking like, oh shoot, they figured something out with Jonnu Smith against this Houston Texans defense. Like he's gonna have a monster game. Literally did not get targeted the rest of the game. I'm like, what? Like it's just so frustrating with some of these coaches. You don't understand. Like, are they watching the same game? Are they like? I understand that a lot of us don't know all the nuances of football and coaching. Like maybe the Houston Texans made an adjustment and they're like triple covering Jonnu Smith. Like we can't really ever always see that on the TV screen and stuff like that. So, but it's just amazing to me when things like that happen in games, like the Falcons against the Saints. They're down three touchdowns with 7 minutes left in the game, and they're taking like a minute to get up to the line and run the play. I'm like, hello, you need to be in the hurry up offense going right now, or else you're not going to have a chance to win. So it's just like some of these coaches are just so frustrating.
Yeah. It beats me how some of these guys have jobs, but I guess we don't know everything.
All right, well, those are our top players of the week. We'll have to see who makes it into the top 5 each week during the playoffs. That'll be really interesting to see who carries who to victory. But let's get right into our bench regrets. So number 1, we've got Duncan, who is actually making himself pretty frequent on the bench regrets here lately. Let me pull up his team real quick. So he's got Gronk on his bench with 13.1 points. Would have added a few points to his team from the tight end spot. Not enough to win. But what do you think about Gronk finally catching a touchdown pass and being semi-relevant?
I mean, if he can do this, if he doesn't, break a bone every little play he goes out, if he can, actually stay healthy. I mean, that's the thing with Gronk. I mean, he's always good when he plays. It's just he has played like half his games this season, so yeah. We'll see if that continues.
No one noticed last year. So I traded Gronk to Cameron last year for Melvin Gordon, I think, like towards the end of the season.
Oh, yeah.
And so no one noticed because Cameron was out of the playoffs at that point. No one noticed Gronk during the playoff weeks, but during the playoffs weeks, he was the number 1 tight end every single week during the playoff weeks and was scoring like 20 to 25 points like each week. And so maybe this is another time where Gronk all of a sudden catches fire for the fantasy playoff weeks and looks good for Duncan. But all right, number 2, we got Nahum with Demaryius Thomas on his bench with 17.8 points. Would this have given him the win? No, it doesn't look like it. So not enough for Nahum to get the win. But what do you think about Demaryius Thomas getting a little bit of a connection with Deshaun Watson? Do you think this is sustainable or just one game?
I'm not that excited about it. I think he can be like okay, but he's not scoring 18 points every week.
Yeah, true. Number 3, Aaron on his bench, Deshaun Watson, 29.4 points, just a little bit better than Baker Mayfield, his starter, so not enough to get him the win at all. But it's kind of hard to tell with Deshaun these days. Some games, he scores like 17, 18, and in other games he gets back to form and scores like 30. So kind of a hard player to predict, but definitely a great quarterback and a great fantasy quarterback. Number 4, we had Cameron with Tariq Cohen, 15.4 points, and Josh Adams, 14.4 points on his bench. Ouch! And definitely would not have given him the win, but I bet Cameron's pretty tired of being on this bench regrets segment. I'm pretty sure this is, what is he on now? He's on a 6-game losing streak. So
oh my god,
think about this. He's on a 6-game losing streak, and Brandon's on a 6-game winning streak. They've literally, for the last 6 weeks, just been completely opposite. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Cameron, to put you on here again. Hopefully your pain ends soon. Hopefully, if you're on it this next week, that's the last time. But sorry, man. But all right, last we've got Rahi with Austin Eckler, 21.3 points, racking up them points once Melvin Gordon went down, and Sony Michel, 21.5 points. Are you a little worried that you might have traded away a big asset for the playoffs in Michel?
Yeah, I mean, we can get into this when we actually go through the trade, but kind of short story of this is I think Sony Michel would always be my 4th best running back unless one of my guys got hurt. Right. And the only way he would have played is if one of those guys get hurt. So if one of my guys do get hurt, then yeah, I'm going to regret it. But if not, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. So the bench regrets isn't as I don't know, not as regretful this week. A lot of people didn't really have a chance to win even with their bench player. Well, Rahi would have, and actually,
yeah, you suck, Rahi.
Rahi would have. I think he might have locked up a bye. No, he wouldn't have locked up a bye, but he would have had a pretty good chance at a bye if he had won this week. He would have moved into number one. So I guess that pretty much sucks. So regrets for Rahi. But all right, well, those are our bench regrets of week 12. And now we actually have a new segment for you guys. I know it's kind of late in the year to start a new segment, but we'll continue it through the playoffs and when we do this podcast next year, because we fully plan to keep doing this next year, so we can keep this segment going. But we're gonna have a new segment called Start and Shart of the Week. That's right. We're gonna have the best start of the week and the worst shart of the week. So these are not just going to be, who scored the most points, put them in the start of the week, and who scored the lowest points, put them in the shart of the week. Like, this is actually depends on the play of the person. So did you take a risky move and it paid off, or did you see something that most people didn't see in a prediction and you played the person when everyone else said, oh, you shouldn't play that person, and then they popped off and you were right? Like, that's a start of the week, is like you took a risk and it paid off. And then the shart of the week is probably not the best decision. Like, you played someone against a really tough matchup and they just pooped their pants, or you played someone that doesn't get a lot of volume in their offense and hoped that you could win with them and they pooped their pants. And so it's mostly a segment to determine the best play of the week and the worst play of the week. So
yeah, it's like whenever you think you got a fart, but it actually turns out you take the risk that it's just going to be a fart, but it's actually a shot.
Dude, oh my god, wait, we should change. I'm changing this segment now to fart of the week and shart of the week. So fart
it's like a fart is like a non-see fart that you feel good about, like no liquid, no solids, just nice air out. But the shart, man, you don't want that.
Oh my god!
Let me tell you from personal experience, the shart is not fun.
All right, so rewind everything I said. New segment: fart and shart of the week. That's right. You take a risk. You're taking a risk to let this fart out. You're taking a risk. You're in public. Everyone is right around you. You're taking a risk to let this fart out. Is it going to come out quiet? Is it going to come out not stinky? Is it come out just completely gas? Is it is it going to pay off, or is it going to come out a shart? Is it going to be nasty, juicy, smelly, stinky, poop in your pants shart of the week? All right, so our fart of the week this week goes to Amari Cooper with 34 points for Akshay. That is right. Some may debate if this was just pure luck on Akshay's part, if he just had no one else to start. But if you look at it technically, it was kind of a risky move. The Washington Redskins secondary has been really good this year with Josh Norman and the other people they have, and they've been holding. I mean, they held Julio to like 10 points, 12 points. They've held some pretty solid wide receivers to low point totals. So, and Amari Cooper always kind of struggles in a tough matchup, and he's still getting rapport with Dak Prescott. So there was a lot of risk involved with this start, and it paid off. He got 34 points. He was the number one wide receiver on the week. He burned the Redskins secondary for 2 long touchdowns. And he had a lot of receptions in this game. So congrats to Akshay. You get the Fart of the Week award with Amari Cooper.
Oh, congrats on that fart.
Yeah. Congratulations that your fart came out and no one noticed in public. So,
clean underwear. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, clean underwear. You got no poop in there. No one even knows you farted. So congratulations. But all right, now let's get into the Shart of the Week. So this one kind of is near and dear to Cosmo as well. So Cosmo, would you like to do the honor of announcing the Shart of the Week?
Yeah, this guy, he not only sharted this week, but he's been sharting it all season. Like, this guy has not been able to keep his pants clean all freaking season. Matthew Stafford is the very first recipient of the Shart Award. That is for Cameron's team, and he scored a total of 5.44 points. Damn, that is disgusting.
Dude, and if you watch the game, Oh, it was so horrible, dude. Like, I want to know what the TV ratings of the first Thanksgiving game was because, I mean, Chase Daniels going against Matt Stafford, and like, so the reason we're giving the Shard Award to Matt Stafford this week, who we call Matt Staff Infection, he uh,
Oh,
he was he was going up against the Chicago defense, who's very, very, very good. And Matt Stafford always kind of crumbles in very tough matchups. Always plays inconsistently. Has lost two of his great receivers. Is only down to Kenny Galladay. Was out on Johnson. Like it was just not looking good for Matt Stafford. But Cameron decided to pick him up and play him this week, and it did not work too well. Matt Stafford had one of his worst games of his career and finished with 5.4 points, just throwing pick sixes left and right. So not a great week for Matt Staff Infection.
let me ask you this question. I think it's actually really sad that this is even a question. But for the rest of the season, if you're forced to have one of these guys be your quarterback for the rest of the playoffs, would it be Matthew Stafford or excuse me, Matthew Staff Infection, or would you rather have Josh Allen?
Oh dang. I would have to look at their matchups and kind of how they've done in other matchups because I haven't paid attention to those guys at all this year. But I would kind of need to look at their matchups. But honestly, I would probably go with Josh Allen because like Matt Stafford, Matt Patricia, their head coach, is not an offensive guy whatsoever. He's all defense, and
All he does is eat donuts.
yeah, all he does. Okay, number one, he eats donuts. Number two, he does defense. So uh, he does not know how to create like creative offensive plays for Matt Stafford. He doesn't really know much about offense, and it's been really hurting Matt Stafford this year. Is kind of one of the reasons I didn't feel like drafting him. And then he lost two wide receivers, and their team to me seems like the team that will they don't have anything to play for. They don't care. Like they're not going to really
Yeah.
try as much in these last few games. They're not playing for the playoffs. They're probably not that happy with their coach and their situation. Um, and it just looks like they're really struggling. And maybe Matt Stafford comes out and has a 25-point game next week, maybe. But do you want to take the risk with a quarterback that can give you 4 points? Like I don't
No.
think so. Like Josh Allen feels like the entire world is against him. The Buffalo Bills are out of the playoffs, but they're still playing incredible. Like Josh Allen wants to prove that he's not a bust. So he's going to go out there and he's going to give it all his game. He can run the ball, he can get running touchdowns, all this stuff. So I would much rather have not Matt Stafford. I would much rather have Josh Allen on my team right now if I had to choose between those two than Matt Stafford, who normally in the past has been pretty good. But um, I would rather take the chance of getting like 15 points from Josh Allen with a chance of getting like 30 than taking Matt Stafford who might get 20 points but could most likely give me 4 points. Like I would much rather take Josh Allen at this point. What about
Yeah.
yourself?
That's tough, yeah, because Matthew Stafford has shown some serious sharp potential every week. I think I'd still probably go Matthew Stafford just because I just don't think Josh Allen's reliable at this point. But the fact that it's even close, like that even has to be a question, is very sad for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, so Cameron might want to check your underwear. I think you need some new underwear.
Yeah, ugh, gross.
Get the Shard of the Week award with Matt Staff Infection, and everyone that's around you in public knows that you sharded your pants. So, yeah, sorry about that. But Fart of the Week, Amari Cooper to Akshay, and Shard of the Week, Matt Staff Infection to Cameron. So, hope you guys enjoyed that segment, and it was a nice pivot by Cosmo in that segment. So we'll be glad to keep that one rolling. But let's get right into I can't believe the words are coming out of my mouth, Cosmo. I can't believe this, but this is a glorious day. This is not just any normal king sausage. This is not a normal king sausage. This is the Phoenix King sausage. That is right. The Phoenix King sausage of the week goes to Taylor. All I need is Saquon. 1-11. He comes through and gets his first win. And not only does he get his first win, he takes it by getting the King Sausage Award. He comes out and just smashes Cameron to the ground, scoring 148 points. The highest point total on the week goes to Taylor. Did you ever believe this day would come, Cosmo?
I'm speechless. I mean, we live in a world where Taylor has a king sausage and Duncan does not. That's crazy. That's
Oh
crazy
my
to me.
God.
I mean, it's just like magical that this guy having the absolute worst season in the history of fantasy football, like literally has not won a single game. The one time he wins it, he doesn't just win; he freaking skyrockets to the top and would have beaten anyone. I mean, it's
Wow.
crazy, but
I
I'm
didn't
glad
even
for Taylor.
realize that until you said that Duncan does not have a king sausage and Taylor does. Like, who would have? How does that feel, Duncan? That's some salt in
Yeah,
the wound right
yeah.
there.
We can skip the fact that I don't have. But yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll skip that. But congratulations, Taylor. Well deserved. You held on. You kept adding people to your roster every week, no matter taking the fat L every week. You still played the waiver wire. You still tried to make trades. You still kept your team fighting, and it paid off. You know, a lot of your guys popped off this week, and you were able to grab that king sausage. So I hope you enjoy it. Well deserved. Congratulations, Taylor. Your award is in the mail. But now let's get into, uh, honestly, like, we thought it was bad when Akshay scored 52 points and earned the stanky sausage award. But I don't, Cosmo. I think this one might be worse. I think this one might be pretty bad, pretty nasty and stanky. The Stanky Sausage Award this week is now the Stanky Curry Jizz Sausage Award again. It goes to Rahi this week. Stanky, stanky, stanky sausage, scoring like, what did he score? 75 points. So not only was it extremely low, but this dude was in the battle for the stanky sausage. He was going up against Brandon, who had finished with 79 points. Brandon was just asking for the stanky sausage award, trying to make my bold prediction come true. And Rahi is down 6 points and has one player left to play. He's down six. All he needs is 6 points to pass Brandon and not get the stanky sausage award. And what does he do? He gets him like 2 points, and he gets 75, and he gets the stanky sausage of the week. He gets the curry jizz stanky sausage of the week. And I don't know. I think this one's worse than Akshay's because Akshay's, yes, was the stinkiest of all time. 52 points. That's an awful, awful amount of points to get.
Yeah.
Terrible performance by his team. But I mean, this was gift wrapped for Rahi to get the win. Like gift wrapped, and he could not pull it out. And he gets 75 points to Brandon's 79. The math finally adds up, makes sense, and Rahi's team takes home the nasty, stanky sausage award and takes the L this week. What's your opinion on this?
I think Rahi he didn't have enough fenugreek this week. He decided to skip out on that this week, and his team suffered. So Rahi, you can't skip the ingredients. Like you got to go buy the recipe, dude. You can't skip the fenugreek, dude.
Rahi, follow your own recipe, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, not enough from Kiki to get Rahi the win and keep him from getting the stanky sausage. So I'm sure Brandon is very thankful for the W and the. Can you believe that Brandon keeps his win streak alive by scoring 79 points? I feel like that could only ever happen against Rahi and maybe Akshay if he's having a bad week.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
But all right, well, King Sausage, congratulations, well deserved, Taylor. Your award is in the mail, and Stanky Sausage, Curry Jizz, Stanky Sausage for Rye. Visiting you guys this weekend, Nahum brought up opinion. You were at the restaurant already when we were in the car driving over there. He says that whenever Nahum gets the stanky sausage, that I'm the hardest on him. Like I drag the segment on for like 5 minutes, and I just like say so many adjectives before stanky sausage, and I think he's right. I didn't realize that, but I think he's right. Whenever Nahum gets the thing, I'm like nutsack Nahum, like all this stuff, dude. Is so. I don't.
Yeah, I think it's just because I think it's that little extra nutsack. I think that's what.
Dude, the nutsack just sounds so perfect with it. The nutsack stanky sausage, but so yeah. Sorry about that, Nahum, but you just know it's out of love. But yeah, all right, stanky sausage. Rahi Well deserved, Rahi. But all right, let's get right into our weekly playoff standings. We are getting very close. Cosmo, can you feel the playoffs? Is it tickling you? Can you feel it?
Oh yeah, I feel it down there, big time.
Oh yeah,
It's
dude.
creeping up me right now.
Oh yeah, I know. It feels so good. But that's right. We got one more week until the playoffs, and we're coming at you with our weekly playoff standings update. So let's get right into the first news. So pretty much this week it was do or die for a lot of people, like Cameron and Akshay and Aaron. So basically they needed Cosmo and I to keep losing and stay at 6 wins, and they needed to win out to even have a chance. So, but unfortunately for them, this week Cosmo took home the W against Jimmy Garapajos, and I won, bringing us both to 7 points. And this mathematically eliminated Aaron, Akshay, and Cameron, all from the playoffs. They have no more chances, and I think it's time. I think it's time, Cosmo, that we go down to the beach
Oh
and
no.
we load up the boats and we say goodbye to our dearest friends for their great season.
Oh man, I can't do this, man.
Cameron, we appreciate your effort this season. You made some great moves. It just wasn't that great of a finish for you. Akshay, you know, you say you're a mastermind. It's a question for a lot of people, but you tried it. You tried your hardest. You made a run here at the end, and unfortunately, it did not work out. And Aaron, you were the closest. And this one is near and dear to my heart, because at the beginning of the season, I said that Aaron was going to end up in the championship. Isn't that right, Cosmo? I said
Right.
Aaron is going to be the dark horse of the league and end up in the championship this year. And unfortunately, he gave it his all, but it was not enough, and he fell to Cosmo and has been eliminated from the playoff contention. So, with our most sincerest condolences, we push these guys out to sea, and we watch them as they go off into the horizon, and we say goodbye to them. They are no longer in playoff contention, and we thank you. We thank you for your efforts, and rest in peace, my friends. Rest in peace, my friends.
Man, so it's tough, man. I'm trying to keep it together right now.
Yeah, no, it's very tough, but stick around for that consolation bracket. You know what I'm saying? It can increase your chances of finishing higher, and can stick around for the playoffs. But all right, anyway, toodaloo. See you guys later. All right. That being said, on the opposite side, that means that Brandon, myself, Cosmo, and Nahum all clinch a spot in the playoffs. That is right. The playoff contenders are now set. We have Duncan, we have Brandon, we have Rahi, myself, Cosmo, and Nahum. Those are the 6 playoff contestants. The seeding still needs to be determined, but those for sure will be the 6 in our playoffs this year, fighting for the 2018 Sausage Bowl championship. So, Cosmo, how does it feel to lock up that playoff spot?
No, it feels so good. I really I really thought that I was like that Mariota decision was going to cost me, and I was gonna choke a huge lead that I had 3 weeks ago, and have one of the biggest blowouts. But to not let that happen, and have a shot at it, maybe not a great shot, but to have a shot, it feels good. What about you, Danny? How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I mean, it feels good, but a little like slightly disappointing at the same time, because I know I missed some opportunities. Like if I had won last week against Aaron, I would have been locked for the playoffs already. So I'm happy. I'm glad I'm here. Not much to complain about. It just feels slightly disappointing because it feels like I kind of underwhelmed, a little bit into the playoffs. But no, I'm happy to be here. In fantasy, it's all about just getting to the playoffs. It doesn't matter if you're the 6th seed, as we've seen in the past. Aaron came in, or Cameron came in at the 7th seed and won the entire championship. So you just need to get your foot in the door, and that's what we did this week. So I'm happy to lock it in, and I think it's a really great playing field for playoffs. And I think it's going to be a really interesting playoff uh, setting here. You got Duncan, who's been on top all season, has a very, very, very strong team. Can he, stay strong? Can he hold strong and take himself to the finish line? You've got Brandon, who's riding a 6-game win streak. Is he ready to trip and fall, or is he going to stay hot and keep shooting towards the championship? You got Rahi, who miraculously somehow is like second to last in average scoring per week in the league and is yet 8-4. So has like the worst tiebreaker points in playoff contention people, but is 8-4, sitting in the 3 seed right now. Then you've got myself 7-5, Cosmo 7-5, and Cosmo 7-5. So, or Cosmo 7-5 and Nahum 7-5, and I think it's a really good playing field. I think it's going to be really interesting playoffs where all our teams are, if you look at these 6 teams, anyone can win any week. Honestly, like it, some projections look higher than others, but I mean, as you've seen with Rahi, you can score 99 points and win a game. You can score, with Brandon, you can score 79 points and win a game. Like anything can happen. So these guys pay close attention to their teams. They've made moves. They have strong players. I think it's going to be a really interesting playoff, and I'm excited to be a part of it. So congratulations to Brandon, Cosmo, myself, Nahum for clinching a playoff spot. And we look forward to facing everyone in the playoffs and seeing how it all works out. But now, to keep going with the weekly playoff standings update, if it was to end today, Duncan and Brandon would have a bye. Rahi would play Nahum, and I would play you, Cosmo, for a rematch of Danny versus Cosmo. But let's get into some potential scenarios that could happen with this next week. So most people are like, oh, the playoff people, they're locked in. This last week doesn't matter. Like, who cares about this last week? But that's not true. We've got some very interesting implications from this next week. So it's pretty much a battle for the bye weeks. That's right. We got a battle for the byes. And I'm not talking about people that are, wishy-washy in their sexual orientation. I'm talking about BYES, battle for the bye weeks.
Okay, so, I was confused for a second. Thanks for clarifying that.
We can have the battle for the other byes. We'll get into that. That's probably for a different podcast. But so as I was going through these different scenarios, first of all, there is a scenario where every single team could end 8-5. If Cosmo wins this week, if I win this week, if Brandon loses to Taylor and Nahum wins his matchup against Aaron, we could all be 8-5, which would just be crazy to have all 6 playoff contestants 8-5. It just kind of shows how competitive this league is and how any week anyone can win or lose. So there is that scenario. But if you use that scenario and go off tiebreakers, unfortunately, there is no chance for Nahum or Cosmo to get a bye week. Just based on matchups this week and tiebreakers, there's not a chance for Nahum or Cosmo to get a bye week, so I apologize for that. But you do, there is some Brandon, Cosmo, and Nahum all have very close tiebreakers, and Rahi has a low tiebreaker. So, still go for the win this week. It could affect your seeding, could affect who you play in the first round of the playoffs, but unfortunately, Cosmo, you can't get a bye. Does that bum you out, or are you still okay with that?
No, I'm ready. Like, I don't know if you ever watch wrestling, but there's this thing called the Royal Rumble in WWE. It's where like one guy goes into the ring at a time, and I think there's like 30 guys that go in by the end of it. But it's always like obviously good to go in last because you have less people you have to face. But usually the person that goes in first, like they got the momentum, like they're just scrapping through the fight. They're grinding, and they got the momentum, and a lot of times that person wins. So I'm ready to jump into the ring and not take that easy week out, not be a lazy bum, but fight it all week long. I'm ready.
You gotta remain battle tested. But all right, so that means that myself, Rahi, Brandon, and Duncan are all in contention for the bye weeks. And we've got several different scenarios here. Let me pull them up on my phone. So the 2 people that control their destiny. They control their destiny. If they win, they get what they want. We have Duncan and Brandon. If either of them win, they get a bye week. So if Duncan wins, he goes to 9-4. If Brandon wins, he goes 9-4. They lock up a bye week. Even if Rahi beats my matchup or wins my matchup and goes to 9-4, their tiebreakers are vastly ahead of Rahi's because, as I said before, I don't want to keep bringing this up. I'm sorry, Rahi. I'm not salty or anything, but Rahi is the second lowest average score per week and is 8-4. But anyway, we don't have to talk
I think
about
I just
that.
heard you hated Indians. That's what I heard.
Oh, I'm not gonna no comment. But anyway, so Duncan and Brandon control their own destiny. That's right. If they win, they get a bye. So Duncan and Brandon know that. Go into this week trying your all. If you win, you get a bye week. So, but if Duncan loses, in order to keep a bye week, if Duncan loses, he needs Brandon to lose his matchup to Taylor, or he needs Brandon to win and needs Danny to win, myself, but he needs to be able to beat me in tiebreaker. So right now he's about 45 points behind me in tiebreaker. So that means this week he would need to score 45 or like 46 more points than I do this week. And then I would need to lose or win. So I would have to win my matchup while scoring 46 less points than Duncan for him to keep a bye. So basically, Duncan, your chances are not as great if you lose. So you really just want to win if you want to get that bye week. Because if you lose, it's gonna require a lot of help to keep that bye week. So and then Brandon, look at this. If Brandon loses, he does not get a bye week. So for Brandon, it's make or break. If he wins, he gets a bye week. If he loses, he does not get a bye week because Rahi and I play each other. So if I win and go to 8-5 and Brandon loses and goes to 8-5, my tiebreaker is like 200 points more than him right now. So he's not going to catch up, and I will take that second spot. And then if Rahi wins, he goes to 9-4 and beats Brandon based on record. So Brandon, make or break for Brandon. How intense is that, Cosmo? If he wins, he gets a bye. If he loses, no bye.
That's intense, man. He's gotta pull it off. I mean, I know we said earlier that, like, I think a couple weeks ago, Cameron predicted that Taylor was going to be the cause of Brandon missing the playoffs, but maybe he accidentally misspoke and meant he will cause Brandon to miss a bye.
Yeah. Maybe this prediction comes true. A lot of our bold predictions this year have come half right. So maybe this is his half right. But yeah, so Duncan at least has a chance to retain a bye week if he loses, but Brandon does not. So Brandon needs to win to get a bye week, controls his own destiny, but if he loses, it's over. So then we go to the next two contestants that need a little bit more help, myself and Rahi. So if I win, basically if I lose, I have no chance at a bye. I have to win. So if I win, I don't get a bye if I just win. I need some help. So I need Brandon or Duncan to lose. Or no, I need Brandon to lose, and then I need Duncan to lose, and I need to beat him in the tiebreaker. So, as I said, Brandon, I'm 200 points ahead of him in the tiebreaker. It's kind of unrealistic to think in fantasy football that someone's going to score 200 more points than someone else. I mean, if I go out there and score 0, sure, Brandon has a chance to score 200 in a week, but it's very, very, very unlikely. So I need either Brandon or Duncan to lose, but if Duncan loses, I need him to not score 46 more points than me this next week. So, if I win, I need some help. I need one of the top 2 dogs to lose. But if I lose, no bye for me. And then for Rahi, it's kind of the same way. If he loses, no bye for Rahi. But if he wins, he needs a little bit of help. But it doesn't really matter on tiebreaker. He just needs either Duncan or Brandon to lose. So because he'll go to 9-4 and they'll be at 8-5, whoever loses. So then he'll jump them. Tiebreaker, his low tiebreaker doesn't matter. So Rahi, if you win, you better be hoping that either Duncan or Brandon lose, and you can snag yourself a bye week. And then if I win, I need one of them to lose, but I also need to stay ahead of Duncan in tiebreaker. So that is our battle for the.
And then if I win, add a little few points to my point total via my commissioner app, then I think somehow I can get a bye too.
Right, yeah. So actually, yeah, you do have a chance. I forgot to mention that. You do
Thanks.
have a chance to get in. You just need to use that commissioner app a little bit. But yeah, so battle for the buys. Duncan and Brandon control their own destiny. If they win, they grab themselves a bye, and then Rahi and I need a little bit of help grabbing those buys. But those are the 4 people that have a chance on getting a bye. And who knows, maybe that can really help you. Like I mentioned earlier, if I get a bye week, that gets me like 1 week closer to getting Melvin Gordon possibly back, even though it looks kind of unlikely. But so it could be helpful. It could help people, especially teams like Rahi, who score pretty low each week and somehow find a way to win, but they can guarantee themselves through the first round of the playoffs. So there you have it, the battle of the buys for your weekly playoff standing update. So congratulations on everyone that got into the playoffs. Looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great playoff. So now we're going to get into a very special segment. This past week, I don't know how many people know, but A&M and LSU played each other this past week, and it was a crazy game. Went into 7th overtime, and it was just crazy play after crazy play. But leading up to this game, 2 people in our league decided to make a bet with each other. That's right. Duncan and Cosmo decided to bet each other on the game. Cosmo took the side of LSU, and Duncan took the side of A&M, of course. So they said loser gets or has to change their name and their fantasy, not their actual real life name. That'd be kind of crazy, but their fantasy team name and their fantasy team pitcher to whatever the winner wants. So we're at Pluckers. We're watching the game. It's crazy. It's going back and forth. We don't know who is going to lose. And finally, A&M pulls it out at the end and wins. So that means Duncan gets to choose the new name and new pitcher for Cosmo's team. It's just for this next week, right? Is that it?
Yeah, unless I like it. Maybe I'll keep it.
Yeah.
I doubt that, but
all right. See. Well, on this segment, we have the announcement of the name Cosmo has to change to, and they play each other this week, which is crazy.
And I have not heard anything what the name is.
Cosmo has not heard this yet. Duncan said it to me confidentially, and this is the first time it's being announced. So I probably should have gotten a drum roll soundboard ready for this. So, yeah, Cosmo, please give me a drum roll, Cosmo. Oh, actually, I got a better idea. Oh, baby, that's right. Our commissioner, Cosmo, currently named Gook, needs to change his name to Daddy Akshay's Gimp. That's right. He's going to have to change his name this week to Daddy Akshay's Gimp. And he's going to have to change his fantasy profile picture. I don't know who has seen the Shrek is Love video, but is a picture of the Shrek is Love where Shrek is banging the guy from behind.
Oh, no.
And Cosmo's face is on the guy, and Akshay's face is on Shrek. That is right.
I'm gonna
forward this picture to Cosmo right now.
No.
And this is what he has to change his fantasy profile to. When the podcast goes live tomorrow, I'm sure people will let us know when they listen to this segment, and we'll go ahead and post the picture into the group chat so everyone can see it. But that is correct. For this next week, next week, Cosmo has to change his team name to Daddy Akshay's Gimp and change his profile picture to Akshay, manhandling him from behind. So, yeah, that's what you get when you bet against A&M and Duncan, Cosmo.
Next segment.
All right. Well, we'll have to see if this new name brings you some luck this next week, and if you can beat down Duncan there. But yeah, there you have it. The result of the bet between the two of them. But all right, let's. We decided to not have a guest on this week. We're gearing up for the playoffs. We kind of wanted to keep it a little more chill. Just Cosmo and I talking about things, going a little bit in more depth about things. But then Cosmo came up with a great idea of why don't we make a special segment this week where we take questions from our league mates, right? So a lot of these podcasts, they take fan mail questions or whatever. We decided why don't we reach out and take some questions from our league mates? And might have not been the best idea, but all right, here we go. We've got our league mate questions. All right, Cosmo,
Yeah.
why don't you, since it's your segment, why don't you hit us off with the first three questions?
Yeah, before I start, I just want to say, like, the reason I was saying that I don't want to talk to any of our audience members, they can kiss my ass, is because when I envisioned this segment, I thought we were going to get a nice, healthy balance of, fantasy questions like, oh, Cosmo and Danny, who should I start? Who should I sit? Do you like this guy? Do you like not? With a little bit of a mix of, these silly troll questions. Little did I expect these trolls in our league pretty much said every single question, but maybe two that had nothing to do with fantasy, and it's just these. You'll hear it. These questions
we
come
want to
out.
say, don't shoot the messenger. We are
Yeah, we
reading
did not.
these questions. We did not come up with these questions. We're taking them from the audience. Yes, I put that statement out there that we're entitled to say no to a question if it's just like, something ridiculous, some controversial real world problem that has absolutely nothing to do with fantasy football. But we're open to most questions. But we just want to let people know, do not shoot the messenger. This is a question from the person unless they hid their name anonymously. But so don't shoot the messenger, please. But
And don't share this one. This particular segment should not be shared with the outside public.
yeah, let's go ahead and say that as well. Cosmo and myself and the Sausage Bowl podcast does not advocate any of these questions. Most of these questions. No, I'm just gonna say any of these questions. These are from the mouth of the people that submitted them, and we're just reading them for our audience. But all right, Cosmo, why don't you hit us with those first three questions?
All right, so I got a couple of questions, not the only ones from this individual, but I guess my apparent daddy now, Akshay, had a few questions, and I just want to say to people, these questions are in regards. We did not come up with these questions. We said we would answer these. We would answer the questions. We did not come up with these questions. We are just reading what the listener sent us. So, question one, Akshay asked, "Why is Cameron an entitled little bitch?" And I guess Danny, we can like alternate and answer these, and then if either of us feel compelled to also answer the question, we can do that as well.
Yeah.
I'll just say that I do not agree with that statement. I don't think Cameron is an entitled little bitch. Pretty sure Danny would agree with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. He is not. Sorry, do you have more to say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think this has something to do with some of the drama in regards to Akshay's trades, but I do not think that makes Cameron a that word.
Yeah, I definitely do not agree with this. I do not think Cameron is that at all. I do think this stemmed from what Cameron said about Akshay's trade, but honestly, I think Akshay took it a little harder than he should have. Cameron was just pointing out a fact that this season Akshay might have not made some of the best trades and maybe does not look too deep into player situations and kind of only looks at points and has tried to take too many risks and has given up a lot of good players for not so great players and has kind of boosted some of these top teams with an extra good player. So I think Cameron was just trying to make a comment that, on the league, it might not help the league overall if someone's just giving away their good players. Kind of dilutes the league a little bit. So I think Akshay took it a little harder and came out with this question, but I do not think Cameron is that, and I don't think Akshay is this aggressive either. I think it's just a little bit of salt.
Yeah, and a little bit of a troll probably. I think Akshay got his troll mask on when he submitted these questions, as we'll get to these next few.
Okay.
Question two. Why does Aaron make mistakes via Trump? Whatever he wants to do politically, that's up to him. In terms of, I guess, fantasy, we all make mistakes. So I'll just say that.
Yeah. Like we said, we're not going to discuss political stuff on here, controversial real world stuff. So everyone's entitled to whatever political beliefs they want. But yeah, there's some bad blood between Akshay and Aaron, and this just proves it.
Yeah, and then finally, Akshay asks with his third question: why does Nahum suck so much that he lost to me last week?
Because he's the nutsack Nahum stanky sausage, dude. That's why he lost you. That's why he sucks. But no, Nahum just has a very up and down team, and it was just one of the weeks where it was down. But
I
think Nahum's. Oh no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I think Akshay, you're selling yourself a little too short there too to think that just because you lose to your team, you're terrible. I don't think Akshay is that bad to where if you lose to Akshay, he's like you suck. So
Yeah.
give yourself a little more credit, Akshay.
Yeah. And Nahum, like I said, his team is very boom or bust. When he booms, it's huge. It's like 160 points, 150 points, 140 points. But when he busts, it's pretty low. And it just happened to be one of the weeks that he lost. But if you really want an answer, it's for that nutsack Nahum stank your sausage. That's why he sucks. He's just stuck in his basement.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Nahum's team is very boom or bust. Just one of the weeks where he busted. But all right, our next question we've got from Aaron. Aaron submitted a question. I believe this is the only question he submitted. So question from Aaron. Here we go. Cosmo, did the Sarah Grace incident senior year of high school committed by Abor against Taylor, did it ultimately curse Taylor forever in the fantasy football realm? Did this act by Abor just put so much public shame on Taylor that it just affected his fantasy football life as well?
It's tell because I definitely think Taylor is cursed. I just do not know exactly what cursed him. So I think this is a possibility, but I don't have the full answer on that.
Do you know if do you know if Taylor visited any sort of like voodoo witch in New Orleans?
I wish I could remember, but I bet something did, and
good.
yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
All right. Well, yeah, Taylor, Aaron, we can't pinpoint what has cursed Taylor in the fantasy football realm, but I can say that incident probably didn't help. It probably added to the curse a little bit, but most likely Taylor's just walked under a few ladders and broken a few mirrors, and it's just it's coming to bite him in the butt. But all right, thank you, Aaron, for submitting your question. Next question we have is actually I'm pretty proud of this question. I think it's a really good question. I think it's a pretty interesting
one of the
one.
few.
One of the few. And lo and behold, who does it come from? Duncan, our president Fight Milk, submits a question that I believe is one of the better ones. So Duncan texted Cosmo and I, and he goes, okay, Cosmo, your three players are Adam Thielen, Nick Chubb, and Alvin Kamara. Danny, your three players are Julio Jones, Melvin Gordon, and James Conner. And he goes, take those three players. Which one would you marry? Which one would you kill? And then which one would you stick your big old schlong in and just take to town and just, screw them, with that big old schlong all day, clapping them balls, you know what I'm saying? But all over them. Which one would you do that? So Cosmo, I'll hit you with it first. Which one will you marry? Which one will you kill out of Adam Thielen, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara? And oh, by the way, we are not actually advocating to kill these players. It is just an expression.
But we are advocating the other two.
Yeah, the other two for sure. Which one would you marry? Which one would you kill? Not advocating that. And which one would you screw with that big old schlong?
I mean, don't say big. That puts unrealistic expectations on myself.
Screw with that tiny minuscule schlong?
All right, thank you. That one is the easiest one. Definitely Nick Chubb. I mean, he's got the Chubb. He's not someone you want like long term. I just picked him up recently. Not a lot of strings attached. I just want to have some fun with the Chubb. So that would be my my ding there. And then between marry and kill between Thielen and Kamara, I was engaged at Thielen, and he had a good week for me last week. He's been my rock all season, but he was having a couple games last couple weeks, and then I saw Alvin Kamara just sitting on the side and looking a little more tasty, and I just
like a snack.
Looking like a snack. So I think I'm gonna marry Mr. Kamara. We got history.
And you're actually gonna kill your man Adam Thielen?
Yeah, that's my answer.
I guess you just use him for what you need and then you kill him, right? So
pretty much.
All right, for myself, I'm gonna have to definitely say marry Melvin Gordon. I picked him up in the 10th spot in the draft. No one believed in him. I believed in him, and he's been my rock all season long. And even though he's leaving me in the most important time of the year, love hurts. Love hurts, man. So, I got to stick with my man.
Till death do us part.
Till death do us part. I got to stick with my man who's been been there for me all year long. I'm a marry Melvin Gordon. And then, you know, between James Conner and Julio, I think I'm gonna stick my schlong in there on James Conner. That's right. James Conner, I didn't even know who this guy was before this season. I didn't even know he was on an NFL roster. Honestly, I didn't even know who Le'Veon Bell's backup was because they never get playing time. I didn't care. So, but I see the early notification that Bell might sit out, and I'm like, oh shoot! I remember D'Angelo Williams did super well when Le'Veon Bell was out. So let me go grab his backup. Find out it's James Conner. I scoop him up, and man, he's been a great addition because I don't know if everyone remembers, but I lost Jerick McKinnon before the season started to an ACL injury in practice, and
Ouch!
I was ouch. I was missing a very key running back piece, and James Conner fit that hole nicely, but he's just a side. He's a piece. He fit in there where I needed him. He's a piece. So I'm gonna be sticking that schlong in there. Weekly. I mean, I thank him
Yeah.
for everything he does, but weekly.
Hit it and quit it.
Exactly. And then I'm gonna leave the kill for Julio Jones because as uh, as great Julio Jones has been for most of the year for my team, he's also given me some really crappy dud weeks. Like there's been a lot of weeks where I should have started Doug Baldwin over Julio Jones. Like Julio Jones gets like 8 points and Doug gets like 12, right? Like there's just a lot of weeks where he duds, and a lot of it has to do with Matt Ryan, who can't seem to throw the ball deep to him at all. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to say just because he can be kind of frustrating sometimes, I would kill Julio. So Mary Gordon, Schlong, James Conner, and kill Julio Jones. So all right, thank you,
All right.
Duncan, for that question. That was a great question. Uh, Cosmo, do you want to? I know I stuck you with Akshay's questions last time. Do you want to pick up these two, or do you want me to go ahead and take them? You
Uh,
can get them later ones.
no, I'll take this.
All
I'll
right.
take this. First question from Akshay about Akshay. His question is, why is Akshay so beautiful? Um, yeah,
I guess
yeah.
my answer to that is, what dictionary is Akshay using? Because when I look up the definition of beautiful, it doesn't apply to Akshay. So I think he might be a little confused on what word he's using there.
Yeah, I think he summed it up perfectly there, Danny. His next question is, how is Akshay ranked higher than Cameron and Taylor? I'll say this about Akshay. He's gotten a lot of flack. He's taken a lot of hits on these podcasts. A lot of his trades have been, severely criticized. But I'll say that he's actually, I think, done a better job than people. I'm not saying he's done a great job, but I think he's done better than maybe people have given him credit. I think some of his trades haven't been as bad as maybe some people have blown them out. I mean, I think that Amari Cooper trade was actually pretty good for him, and he's had a nice run at the end, and I think he deserves a little credit there. I think that's why he's higher than Cameron and Taylor.
Yeah, I think Akshay likes to sell himself short a lot, and I think he likes to come out and be boisterous and be like, "Oh, I'm a mastermind, I'm taking risks and everything." But I think sometimes maybe he just feels a little insecure. So Akshay, stop selling yourself short. You know how to play fantasy football. You just make some when you make a wrong move, Akshay, it's like a terrible move, but you know how to play fantasy football. So give yourself some more credit. You had a decent season, 5-7. Honestly, 5-7 in this league, that's nothing to like get upset about. I mean, Cosmo and I could easily be 5-7 instead of 7-5. Like if you go back to some of our weeks, I mean, I beat Cameron barely when I played him, and like Cosmo's had a few wins he's squeaked out at the end. Like it's tough in this league. So 5-7, I wouldn't sell yourself short, Akshay. Just maybe try to tighten up some of those major moves you make. Stop trying to take so many risks, and maybe dig a little bit deeper into fantasy football rather than just looking at the points. You can't just follow points. You got to look at how much volume someone's getting, or what matchups they're facing, stuff like that, bye weeks, all that kind of stuff. You got to look at that stuff. You can't just look at points. I think when you do that, you'll have a pretty good team. So just don't sell yourself too short.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you want me to take this next one?
I mean, yeah, you can take it. I don't think we should really get into it, but you can ask the question. I vote we pass, but you can ask the question.
Nahum asked, how many genders are there? I'll just say 69. 69 genders.
There probably, yeah, according to some people, there probably is. So, yeah, that gets into a whole biology discussion and religion and all that stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and skip that one. But why don't you guys think about this at home? That's a home question. How many genders are
Do a
there?
little
So
research project on that. Watch
yeah,
some videos out there.
yeah.
You'll get a good answer. Next question from Nahum is, why do stupid people breed? That's a very good question, Nahum.
That is a very good question.
My answer is that there are significantly more stupid people in the world than intelligent people. I think my theory is that there's 90% of the population are idiots, and then there's only 10% of the population that are smart, just from my daily interactions with people. And so when there's that many people, people got to get their thing on. So it's just a numbers game. That's my answer.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably because they're too stupid to know they shouldn't breed, right? Like, they're like, oh, I got a dick, I want to stick it in, something.
I mean, dogs, they don't know, go up to anything, and they just
start banging, dude. And it's just, yeah. So I think they're just too stupid to know they shouldn't breed. But, yeah, what can you do about it? We have some people in the history of the world, try to eliminate those stupid people, and doesn't always work out so well, and it's probably not the best idea, and they don't always handle it the best way. So yeah, no, just kidding. But
just let it happen, Nahum. It's cool.
Yeah, just let it happen. But all right, next question. Nahum actually submitted a couple more questions here. Nahum asks, would you rather have a constant stream of smelly wet diarrhea or have penises for fingers? So, Cosmo, would you rather have penises for fingers or a constant stream of smelly wet diarrhea?
Dude, I feel like there's some upside for some penis fingers. I feel like you'd be in. I don't know. I think.
Well, let me ask
that can have some.
Does it have the same feeling as your actual penis? Like, do you still get the same sensations and all that stuff? Because I mean, if that's true, I would rather have the penis fingers, because then it's like,
that's like 10
banging one
things
chick
at once.
Yeah, dude. Did you say 10 dudes at once?
And anytime you're at a party, that's a great conversation starter. They'll look at your hands and they'll be like, "Oh, what the heck is that? What's the story there?" And then that's your opener. You got to easy in with any kind of person,
Yeah, get it. You got an easy in with your penis.
Whereas if you have a constant stream of diarrhea, no one wants to hang around.
Yeah, no one wants to I mean, ask Matt Staph Infection how a constant stream of how that worked out for him. So yeah, I would much rather have penis for fingers.
Yeah, me too. Next question.
This one's for you, actually. So I gotta ask this one. So another one from Nahum for Cosmo. Would you rather share a room with Chris Gambini or Shrek?
Yeah. So to the people I do not know, I had a roommate my junior year of college. I won't go into a lot of details, but he basically was the worst roommate of all time. Nahum hates him. Taylor hates him. I hate him. We all lived with him, but I directly roomed with him. And let's just say I would rather room with Shrek in his stinky, smelly swamp than do another year with Chris Gambini.
Even if it's Shrek is love, Shrek is life, Shrek?
Dude, I'd take that any day. I'll take that bullet 10 times than to live with Chris Gambini again. I can suck my nuts.
All right, so our next question comes in from Brandon. Yep. That's right. This question is coming in from Brandon, and he asks, what is the best way to come out of the closet to my family?
Yeah. And strangely, this question was sent to me not from Brandon's phone, but it said Brandon's name, so I'm assuming that's the case. But Brandon, I think you just need to just bite the bullet and just do it. I think they will not judge you. I think they'll accept you for who you are. We'll accept you. I mean, we'll make some jokes about your sexuality, but nothing you can't handle.
Yeah. Just go for it. You got to trust your family. They love you. They love you for who you are. So, and I mean, I don't see what the big deal about coming out of a closet. Like, wouldn't you rather want to come out? Like, you can't eat, you can't go to the bathroom. It's probably hard to breathe in there. There's not a lot of vents in the closet. So, I don't know but I mean, just yell, start yelling. Someone's going to hear you through the door. Like, your family loves you. They'll come take you out of the closet. So, yeah, I don't know what the big issue there is, Brandon, but good luck to you. I hope you get Wi-Fi in your closet so you can can listen to this and then hear that. But I hope you get out of your closet one day, Brandon. But all right, I'll do one more, Cosmo, and let you take some. So now we've got another question from Akshay, who just seems to be sending in millions of questions. He says, "Should I be judged if I like to eat the booty like groceries?"
No, dude, it's amazing.
Yeah, like I don't know
Uh,
what your problem is with that.
yeah, it tastes good, and it's also good to have your booty eaten like groceries.
Oh, dude, I gotta say this though, like be careful. Like you don't want to just eat any booty like groceries. Like make sure that ish is clean, right? Like you don't
I
like for
mean, just a
example.
little bit of flavor is not too bad, but yeah, you
Well,
generally
let me ask
speaking,
you this: would you want to eat Cameron's booty this week?
no, not after that, not after
Not
that. I
after
would
the
not.
Matt staph infection?
No, no. I mean that's explosive. That's too much.
Okay, yeah. So somewhere between well, you'll always want it if it's completely clean, but somewhere between completely clean and Cameron's booty this week, you'll want to eat that. So
All
yeah,
right,
no, don't worry about being judged.
all right. Well, and now everyone can do that without being judged. Next, and you know what? Thank you, Taylor, for these next couple questions. Probably besides Duncan's question, the only two that were. I mean, I haven't seen what Brandon sent in his other questions, but probably the only actually fantasy relevant question. So gold star for you, Taylor. And so the question Taylor has is: in the history of the Sausage Bowl, who played the worst in their respective season?
Are
That's tough.
we including people that just like didn't pay attention at all to their
I
team?
guess I guess it's just up to your interpretation because to me, the way I would see the worst player, I would think the person that did, I don't know. I think it's like a balance of not like take away luck from the equation, take away people that just gave up, like who actively like just with their own actions had the worst season by just completely self-destructing. That's how I think I
Right.
would see it. But
Yeah,
and
I would
it's
I see it more that way too.
that's tough though because I don't have great memories of. I know I don't think it would be someone from this season because I think the play has been high, but I can't. I don't have good memories of like a lot of the previous seasons, like who did exactly what. So that's
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of moves that were made back then because I've started really focusing these past few years. But I mean, the ones that come to mind are like uh, Bryson and Cameron's 1-12 season and stuff like that. And I mean, I guess you could toss in Taylor's season this season, but like he's not been playing bad. He's just been super unlucky. Like he's been making good waiver wire pickups and everything. And
no.
sure, he messed up some start sit decisions, but he's just been really unlucky with injuries for the most part. And then Cameron, that 1-12 season, I mean, after he lost like six straight, I think he just kind of gave up. I mean, he even admits that. And then Bryson just like never checked his team. I don't even think Bryson
Yeah.
was present for like the draft. I don't know if he even knew. I don't know if he knew he
Yeah.
had a fantasy team that year. But um, honestly, I would say I guess I have a little bit of a defense, but I would say myself in season one because I had never played fantasy football before, and honestly, I wasn't really paying that much attention to the NFL.
Hmm.
And I didn't give up on my team. I didn't really try a whole lot to make it better, but I still was, sitting and starting people each week and stuff like that. But I went back and looked at the draft. Um, I went back and looked at the draft of the first year, and my picks were awful, dude. I took like Alfred Morris as like the number like seven pick or something. I'm like, what the heck? Like, it was just not. It was just not a good. My draft picks were terrible. I didn't even like know how to pick up people off of the waiver wires. I didn't try to make any trades. I missed a lot of start sits. I messed up a lot of matchups and stuff. Uh, so I would say that, and then I would say honestly, I would probably say like you could potentially throw Akshay of this season in there, not because like we were saying earlier, 5-7 in this league is not that bad. I mean, there's a chance that the top six people could finish 8-5, and he's 5-7. He's just 3 wins away. Like that's a coin toss in a lot of matchups. But just the fact that you know at the start of the season he had Keenan Allen on his team, Alvin Kamara. Um, he had a bunch of these guys, Zach Ertz. had on his team who right now are carrying a lot of teams. Like Keenan Allen is a solid flex for Duncan right now. Kamara, he's had some down games, but he's been really good. And then Zach Ertz has been one of the better tight ends. I mean, he mended it with Eric Ebron, but I'd say just because I don't remember a whole lot of the moves in the past, the only ones that I know of for sure are my first season, and then some of the moves Akshay's made this season. So I wouldn't say that. I would say it's probably hard to say Akshay's this season has been the worst in the league, but I could just say there's definitely some moves that he's made where it's been like that was pretty questionable, maybe not the best move for you. But I'm gonna go with myself in the first season. Just looking back on my draft, it was awful, and a lot of my moves were just pretty bad the first season.
Yeah, I'll say Bryson's last season because it was obviously bad enough to where he got kicked out of the league. So I'll go with Bryson.
Yeah, that's a good one too. So, but yeah, no, the league is so competitive now. It's really hard to say that someone.
Yeah.
I mean, Taylor is 1-12, and he's still like working the waiver wire each week, making great moves. He's just really unlucky. So, I think the league is in a great spot, and I'm sure the person who played the worst in their respective season is probably in the first few seasons.
All right. Danny, what is this next question from Taylor?
All right, well, Taylor gives us one last question. He says, what do y'all consider the dumbest fantasy moves either one of y'all have made? So, yeah, I would say there's definitely, I mean, clearly both of us make the most moves in the league. We're like double the next highest in moves. And I think it's been that way like the last 3 seasons. Definitely, I would say my dumbest fantasy move. I mean, the one that keeps sticking in my head is dropping Cooper Kupp. Like I know he got injured, tore his ACL, he's out for the season. So like I guess in a cynical way, you could look at it and say, yeah, it was okay. Like I somehow knew he was gonna give up on me in the most important part, so I got rid of him. But if that's the case, I would have tried to trade him. I would have tried to get trade value for him before he, crapped out or whatever. But I just dropped him, dude. I dropped him for like freaking. I wasn't even someone important, I don't think. Like I picked up someone and just dropped Cooper Kupp because I thought Cooper Kupp was just like a simple like 8 to 10 point a week guy, and I was like, you know what? I need a little bit more bang on my team right now. I'm okay dropping this guy, but I didn't really realize how the connection he has with Goff, how they run him in that offense. I mean, he's like one of the main receivers in that offense, and he just started popping off when Cameron picked him up. And honestly, Cameron might be in playoff contention right now if he didn't have to not use Cooper Kupp as much. So I would say the one that just constantly sticks in my head is dropping Cooper Kupp and not getting anything for him, and not even understanding the value that he had.
Yeah. That's a tough one, player, but without how many moves, you're bound to mess up on some of them. So I wouldn't beat yourself up too much on that. I think mine, I've made a lot of boneheaded moves over my fantasy career, but I mean, there's one that's just clear as day to me, and that is last year during our draft with my 3rd round pick. I took Isaiah Crowell. I took the Crow with my 3rd round pick. Not only was that a bad move because he was terrible, but I did that on the advice of Matthew freaking Berry. Like I literally, like that was the year I just started my job. I wasn't really paying attention to fantasy. I was cramming last minute before the draft, and I just read Matthew Berry's article. I saw this blip on Isaiah Crowell. I was like, oh, it looks like a good pick. And I took him with I literally took him where like Adam Thielen went this year, and where like Christian McCaffrey. That's where I took Isaiah Crowell for reference. So
basically,
that was by far.
You pulled a Derrick Henry, but last year.
Yeah, I probably worse. Honestly, I think Derrick Henry probably was better this year than Isaiah Crowell was last year. So that is definitely my worst move, for sure.
Yeah.
I can take these next ones from you, Danny. So these next ones from our. Someone didn't listen too hard to our warnings.
Read these.
But...
I'll read Brandon's.
All right.
I mean, not Brandon's. Not Brandon's.
All right. So I'll read Rahi's questions. This guy, he pushed it. First question: do you think Todd Gurley yells "Allah Akbar" as he rushes the ball? Is that why he's so good? Would you consider that cheating, and should he be fined? I'm just gonna say he does not yell that. That's my final answer.
I'm gonna say Todd Gurley has been mic'd up several weeks, and I have never heard him on the mic'd thing yelling that.
I think Rahi's trying to project what he wants to hear onto Todd Gurley, and that's not cool, Rahi. So
yeah,
chill.
He's trying to
Chill
put
out,
words in Gurley's mouth. Like, don't
Yeah.
disrespect the man like that.
Yeah, don't put words in his mouth, dude. Okay. Second question. Okay, this is better. What size cup does Philip Lindsay wear? I say extra large.
Oh yeah, like so he's short in stature, doesn't weigh much either, was undrafted, the entire world was against him, and you know what that means? That means he's got a fat cock, dude. So I mean, I'm sure he wears like so he's not talking about like breast cup size, right? Like he's talking about like cup that you.
I'm pretty sure that's what I'm guessing, but I guess you never know, right? Freak.
Wait, you're guessing that it's the like jog strap cup?
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm guessing too. I don't know if there's sizes for those, but whatever fits like a 12-inch.
No, like 16
like,
inch.
Whatever fits like a 16-inch, like 8-inch girth fat cock, whatever fits that. That's Philip Lindsay.
Yeah. Again, please don't share this this particular episode with anyone. All right. Next question. Out of all the NFL players, name one you would. Let me say this quietly because I think my parents are in the next room. Masturbate to. So out of all the NFL players, name one you would masturbate to, and you cannot say no.
Shoot. Do you have one on the top of your head? I need to think for a second.
I mean, Rahi messed up on this question because he's assuming I don't already do that with a lot of the NFL players. So I'm just going to choose the one that I do it the most with. And, I think there's a lot of options. I always love going to my man, Young Hoku.
Oh, yeah, I feel that one.
There's, a bunch of Cowboys, but I got to go with my man, Big Ben Roethlisberger. He's he's got that meat, man. He's like
he's got that chin, dude.
Yeah, I like him big and large. So I'll pick Big Ben.
Dude, I'm gonna say Zeke Elliott, dude. So this is what I do. I sit down, I put on the Cowboys game, I grab some of that nice lube, slather it all in there, and just so pretty much every time he finishes a run, gets up and does his little keep eating symbol, feed Zeke, I'm just stroking it, dude. Like I just every yard stroke. So when he finishes those I'm a stroke of the dick, not stroke. So when he finishes those games and he's got like 240 all-purpose yards, that's right. 240 strokes of my dick. That's right.
That's a good choice. He's I've done that on a couple occasions, so can't blame you on that one. All right, I can take the bullet on this one unless you want to.
Okay.
So Rahi has his final question, and he wants.
Not even a question.
Yeah, it's not even a question. You broke the rules again, Rahi, but whatever. I'll do it just for you. Rahi wanted one of us to yell a certain phrase out loud. I'm not going to yell it because I have family in the house, but I'll say it. Allah, Allah, Allah. Habibi.
Oh yeah, that was great. Thanks for saying that,
you.
Kaza. I hope everyone heard that. Like it was clear as day. So, but yeah, all right. So now we have some Twitter questions. Actually, some people reached out on Twitter. The first one comes from @Fondler of Nuts 69. He asks, "Hey guys, thanks for answering my question. So my question is, there's this girl that I like. Let's call her Gertrude. And I asked her out. She said yes, and we went on a date. A couple days after our date, she messaged me saying she was too busy for a relationship. I find this excuse to be BS, and I was wondering if I should move on or keep pursuing her. Thanks so much, guys."
Man, interesting question.
Yeah, what do you think about Fondler of Nuts 69's question here?
Yeah, Fondler Nuts 69. First of all, thank you for the question. We appreciate it. Always love to hear from our listeners. I gotta say, thoughts are thoughts. I mean, the sooner that you get that lesson into your head, the happier your life will be. So I would just move on and don't look back.
Yeah, Fondler of Nuts 69. This makes me think back to that glorious day, that day in infamy of when Nahum choked against Brandon in Madden, and it was heartbreaking. And he was being interviewed afterwards, and the interviewer asked, "What do you say to your fans that are so disappointed in you?" And he said, "Cosmo, you know what he said? He said, we don't need you." So
Yeah, we
take that
don't
advice.
need
Yeah, take that advice, Fondler of Nuts 69. You don't need her. Move
you don't
on.
need Gertrude. What
You don't
kind of
need
name is
Gertrude,
Gertrude?
dude. You don't need Gertrude when you got Girly. You don't need Gertrude. And you know what? Bros before hoes, dude. Bros before hoes. Go find Brandon. He's in a closet somewhere. Bros before hoes. You don't need Gertrude. But all right,
Yeah.
our next Twitter question comes from at ChubbyChaser420, and he says, right to the point. I met this girl at the club. We hit it off, and let's just say we had raw, unprotected sex. Now she is texting me saying that she's pregnant and I'm the father. I have no intentions of raising that ugly baby because she really wasn't that great looking. I had plans of leaving the state, but I was wondering, what would you guys do in this situation? Thanks. At ChevyChaser420.
Damn, what a predicament you are in, Chaser. My advice, first of all, get checked. I think that's the first thing. Your
Yeah,
health is important.
definitely. Get
You
checked.
need to get checked. You never know what that girl's doing. So that's the first priority. Second, there's plenty of guys out there. You can privately message me later on that we can get you a new ID, a new identity. You don't have to leave the country. There's workarounds. So.
Yeah. I'd say we know some people. We know some people, so we'll help you out. Uh, just just know next time be a little more careful. Be a little more careful next time. Definitely get yourself checked out, and just know that there's some consequences to your action. But if you know the right people, you can always get out of those consequences. So that's how America works, and that's why it's one of the greatest countries in the world. But uh, yeah, so good luck on your situation, and contact Cosmo. But all right, our last Twitter question here comes from at No Girls 8 Cups, and he says, "This is what I was laughing about a second ago." He says, or maybe she says, I don't know. She goes, whatever. I enjoy it when people shit on my chest. Is that normal?
What the heck? Wait, what was the last one?
Is that normal? If not, how can I stop myself from enjoying it? At No Girls 8 Cups. So is that normal, Cosmo? Like, and if it's not, how does he stop from enjoying that?
Okay, no girl. First of all, that is not normal. You need to get a psychological evaluation or something because that you got some serious issues if you're doing that. But in order to fix that, man, that's a tough one. I think you got to get like the fattest, ugliest guy or girl, whichever you prefer, or actually the opposite, whichever you don't prefer. You get the other one, and you take them into your room, have them do their business, and I feel like that will shock you away.
You need something to shock you. And I'm
Like,
I'm thinking here, I'm thinking he needs to contact Chubby Chaser 420 and hit up the girl that he got pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's a chubby chaser. So
yeah, clearly he's a chubby chaser. Just you need to shock yourself out of the system. So honestly, it doesn't even have to be, a human being. It could be a baboon or something. Like you just need something that's going to shock you and just make you not ever want to do that experience again. Definitely not normal. Definitely not normal. Maybe you want to talk to some people, but just know the world loves you for you. You might just need a little bit of help. So thank you for all those Twitter questions, and I believe that wraps up all of our questions for this segment. Is that correct? You don't have any more, Cosmo?
I think that covers it. Some exhilarating questions today.
Thank you everyone for participating. It was great to see the community pour out and participate in this one, and hope you guys enjoyed answering some questions from the league. So I know this podcast has been a chill one, and when we kind of took some time on things earlier that we normally don't take a lot of time on, but we're actually at an hour 45 minutes already. So so let's go ahead and breeze through the rest of this, and get a move on to next week. But we just wanted to take some time on some more chill segments that we normally don't take a whole lot of time on. So
Yeah,
uh,
marinate on them.
yeah, and we wanted to make sure to read everyone's questions. So, but all right, let's get into the Week 12 matchup review. So let's just skim these real quick. So first matchup I got on my docket is Whip My Nips against President Fight Milk. So this one was a battle that I really, honestly, I needed to win this one. Duncan's team was not at full strength. He had Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, and Robert Woods on bye, and his kicker, who scores a lot of points as well. Had them all on bye. I needed to take advantage of this opportunity. My team was at full strength, and fortunately, I was able to squeak out a win by 6 points, winning 138 to 132, moving me to 7-5 and in bye week contention, and dropping Duncan down to 8-4. After at one point he was 8-2 at one point, so now he's on a 2-game losing streak, sliding backwards into the playoffs. Cosmo, real quick, just something you took away from this matchup?
Yeah, I think didn't really play any kind of part into this matchup, but I was really surprised that Gus Edwards was able to do it again. I think he has now, if he's not injured, I think he might have established himself as the starter. So I think that was a good pickup on your end. And on Duncan's team, considering he didn't have Todd Gurley, I think this is extremely impressive that he was still able to score 132 points. Also didn't have Goff. And Keenan Allen, that trade looks better and better as the weeks go on. He's literally doing what he did last year when he exploded in the second half.
Yeah, Keenan Allen's looking great. One note, kind of another dud week from James Conner. Right as he was getting momentum, as the Steelers were getting momentum, and he was driving down for a touchdown, he fumbled, and it kind of killed everything. So if James Conner had scored his normal 20 points or whatever, this one wouldn't have been as close. But yeah, impressive that Duncan's team could hold their own without his top starters. All right, next matchup we had Daddy Akshay's Gimp is the name for this week. So against Jimmy Garoppolo's, and this one was the juicy matchup of the week. This one it really pretty much would go. It would do a lot in determining who gets the last playoff spot. And so, fortunately for Cosmo, he came out with the win, 137 to 114. Christian McCaffrey's 41 points was not enough to help Jimmy Garoppolo stay in playoff contention. And Cosmo puts the nail in the coffin for Aaron and knocks him out of the playoffs. But a great stream of Baker Mayfield, 26 points. Christian McCaffrey, as we said, 41 points, just a monster week. Dalvin Cook actually had a decent week with 15 points. Just the rest of his team could not help him overcome Adam Thielen, Andrew Luck, Joe Mixon, and Nick Chubby Chubb. So yeah, congrats to Cosmo getting this important win and moving into the playoffs. What's your biggest takeaway from your team this week?
I think there's a crazy hypothetical. What if Akshay doesn't back out on that trade we made a couple weeks ago where I would have sent him Kenny Golladay and Nick Chubb for Mike Evans? I honestly think if that wouldn't have happened, I think I would have missed the playoffs, honestly. Chubb and Golladay have really been amazing for me, and I think I dodged a bullet big time by not letting either of those guys go.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I've noticed that with a lot of trades this year for a lot of different people is sometimes you'll have a deal with someone and it'll fall through at the last second, and then you're actually a few weeks later you're really happy that it fell through and that you didn't give those people up.
Yeah.
I was telling you earlier, I had great running back depth. I was like, I could give away one of these running backs before the trade deadline and try to fill in one of my holes, maybe at quarterback or defense kicker or something like that. But I'm glad I didn't because I got hit with so many different running back injuries or suspensions this week. I need that depth. So things work out. I think I texted you after that because you were kind of frustrated about the whole situation. I said, hey, you never know. This might actually work in your favor. And so far it looks like it has because Nick Chubb has just been an unstoppable force ever since he got sole possession of that starting role. So really good week there.
And real quick, Baker Mayfield was a great stream by Aaron. He actually has the second highest passer rating since Hugh Jackson was fired behind Drew Brees. So Baker Mayfield looking pretty good for the Browns there.
Yeah, really good call. Actually, I think now that I kind of think about it, I think maybe that one should have been in the mix for Fart of the Week as well.
Oh yeah, Baker Mayfield.
Because I mean, he's a rookie. You're kind of taking a big risk, but he stuck him up against Cincinnati and used him as his stream and filled in quite nicely for Pat Mahomes. So, great call by Aaron there. Wasn't enough to get the win, unfortunately. Next matchup, we have Slavery Was Not a Choice against I Love Blacks and Africans. Nahum versus Akshay. And this one was projected for a Nahum 15-point win and ended up being an Akshay 15-point win pretty much. Akshay wins 119 to 103 this week, pulling away the upset against Nahum, knocking him to 7-5 and out of bye week contention. But luckily Nahum still clinches a playoff spot. We had Kirk Cousins pop off for Akshay. And then we had Emmanuel Sanders do pretty well. And then Amari Cooper's crazy 34-point week. I mean, that's pretty much what won Akshay the game. The rest of his team was pretty much crap. Good week from Calvin Ridley, Stephon Diggs looking good. I didn't see this that Stephon Diggs is questionable. But yeah, 20 points from Drew Brees. A dud week from Michael Thomas. Yeah, so Nahum just not the best week. I think. Did he have some people on buys? Yeah, he had Travis Kelce on buy. Kerryon Johnson got injured. Yeah, so just it was a bad mix for Nahum. Took the L here. Unfortunately, knocks him out of the buy contention, but still in the playoffs, so nothing to really worry about. Just the salt in the wound from losing to Akshay, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we kind of glossed over that. I think Akshay sometimes likes to sell himself short. But his team isn't. He's made some good moves along the way, and so I don't think he should sell himself short. And I think again, Nahum's team has been extremely volatile all year. I think for Michael Thomas, especially, that game was extremely frustrating. These are the guys who got touchdowns in that game: Austin Carr, Tommy Lee Lewis, and Dan Arnold. Oh, some guy named Keith Kirkwood as well. Those are the guys that scored for the Saints. So. That, as a Kamara owner, I'm sure when Brandon started Ingram and for Nahum, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen every week. So
yeah, Ingram, Kamara, Thomas, all affected by these undrafted free agents just coming in and scoring a bunch of touchdowns. So yeah, fluke week, but like I said, doesn't affect his playoff position or like him being in playoffs at all. Just misses out on a bye week, but like you said, maybe that's not the most important thing in the world. So, all right, next matchup, we had Curry Jizz Rahi against repeat offender Brandick in the battle for the stanky sausage. That's right. Brandon was projected to win this one 114 to 106, but ended up winning 79 to 75. That's right. The lowest scoring match of the week, and honestly, the lowest scoring match of the season. I mean, there's been people that have scored in the 70s before, but usually their opponent scores like 140 or something. But no, this was just this was just crap all around. 79 to 75. Brandon squeaks out the win somehow, and Rahi was not on the lucky end this week of squeaking out a low-scoring match. But Zeke Elliott carried Brandon to victory here, and unfortunately for Rahi, Philip Lindsay and Cam Newton were not enough to get him the win. When the rest of your team averages about 2 points, it's not going to be a good week. So.
Yeah, it's that's brutal. But you know what? On Rahi's team, he's been having some really bad weeks. But I think he had a really good trade deadline. I think he made some solid moves. I think his team is going to be almost completely different than next week. So we'll see. We'll see how he does with this revamp team. I liked some of the moves he made at the trade deadline. So we'll see how that plays. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and he has Austin Eckler. So
exactly.
For Melvin Gordon, who's going to take over, can catch the ball, can run really well, really great backup or handcuff. I mean, and with Melvin Gordon out at least 2 weeks, Rahi's looking pretty good with Austin Eckler and Sony Michel, and Julian Edelman. He's going to get. And then on Brandon's side, he just had the bye week of Brandon Cooks and Tyreek Hill. Yeah. Who normally score a lot of points for him. So also, I don't know when is Brandon gonna trust Ben Roethlisberger?
Aaron Rodgers been disappointing,
has been crapping everywhere this year.
Yeah, and I think there's a case to be made that Mike McCarthy is turning into one of the worst coaches. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the problem. I don't think his ability has decreased this year. I think Mike McCarthy's one of the least imaginative offensive coaches in all football. I mean, it took him 20 weeks to figure out Aaron Jones was better than Jamal Williams. Like, clearly this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I think Mike McCarthy got overshadowed by how good Aaron Rodgers is. Like through all those years where the Green Bay Packers were having so much success, honestly, this year has been kind of exposing it. Like he doesn't know much. And I mean, you could tell it in the years where Aaron Rodgers would go down and their team was like an instant 2-win team or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really just all Aaron Rodgers. And like those crazy plays where you see Aaron Rodgers put the ball exactly where it needs to be and stuff like that, they're just normal plays. It's just Aaron Rodgers making the most of them when he runs out of the pocket and scrambles. So it's really, this year is really exposing Mike McCarthy.
Dude,
and,
imagine Rodgers with like Sean McVay or Andy.
It'd be insane.
Oh my God.
He'd be scoring like 30 points a week probably. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers signed a big deal with them. We'll have to see if they get rid of Mike McCarthy. But our final matchup of the week, this one, man, it's just. That's right. That is right. All I need is Saquon. Taylor, 0-11, going against Cameron, anything but last, 4-7. Cameron projected to win by 10 points, but Taylor says no. He says, this is my time. He's been building up that jizz, and he exploded this week, scoring 148 points to Cameron's 100, grabbing that king sausage, that Phoenix king sausage, and man, his team just exploded. Jameis Winston, great pickup by Taylor on Jameis Winston, playing him this week against San Francisco, 22.88 points. Tyler Lockett having another great week, 19 points. Corey Davis having a boom week, 21.5 points. Saquon Barkley, 30 points, great as usual. Peyton Barber has been pretty solid for Taylor lately, 13 points. George Kittle, 8 points, but for tight ends in this day and age, that's honestly pretty good. John Ross, 10 points, and then his defense, great pickup and decision by Taylor to grab Baltimore defense against Oakland, scoring 18 points. Yeah, just really great decisions on streamers this week for Taylor. And Cameron was hit hard a little bit by Kareem Hunt not being in his lineup for a bye week, not playing Josh Adams or Tariq Cohen. But hey, he played Lamar Miller, and Lamar Miller popped off this week. So
yeah,
for
once he didn't end up on bench regrets. So
yeah. Yeah, really, I don't know if there was much he honestly could have done, even if Matt Stafford had scored like 20 points. But yeah, it was Taylor's time. There's nothing he can do, and Taylor takes home his first win to move to 1-11.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was 11 in the makings. He finally reached it, and I don't know how many times I've watched that video of Cameron in the dunce hat. I was dying watching that. With the song and everything.
I love this
Taylor's meme game.
Yeah, I love this new life that's been injected into Taylor and his team, and we'll see if he can keep that bye week away from Brandon next week and get an incredible upset win against Brandon next week.
Yeah.
But there you have it. That's our Week 12 matchup review. Our biggest surprises of the week. For myself, it was Rahi losing to Brandon on Monday Night Football after only being down 6 points. He just needed 6 points from Kiki Cutie to keep him from getting the stanky sausage and beating Brandon. And nope, doesn't get enough, and he loses 79-75. That whole match was a surprise. Like I don't think I've ever seen a match so low scoring. Like it's just. But at the end of the day, one person still gets a W, and it doesn't matter. So, yeah, my biggest surprise was just Rahi being unable to pull out the win. I mean, Duncan was texting me, and he was like, "Oh man, like Rahi's gonna win, and he's gonna take number one spot. I'm gonna finally lose my hold on the number one spot to Rahi, like blah blah blah." And then Rahi loses. It was just insane.
Yeah, that was a crazy set of events. I think my biggest surprise, and one that was a pleasant surprise because it really helped me, was Josh Allen, the guy who's been pretty mediocre all season, wrecking the Jaguars defense. I really thought when I saw Aaron pick up Jaguars defense against Buffalo, I was like, oh no, this is not good. This is like a 20-point defense scoring waiting to happen. And
oh yeah,
little did I know they sucked it up, and that team is on a free fall right now.
Yeah, that was not good. Did you know they're like 3-8 or like 3-9?
I know they've
something like that.
Yeah, and I think they've lost like 8. I think they've almost lost like all their games row. Like I think they started off like 3-0, and then they've lost every single game since then. It's
Jeez.
terrible.
But yeah, all right. That's our Week 12 matchup review. Cosmo, hit us with those key transactions real quick.
All right, rapid fire here. Danny picked up Justin Jackson and dropped Alex Collins. We'll see if Justin Jackson can do good with Melvin Gordon out. Nahum dropped Chris Thompson, picked up Carlos Hyde. We'll see how Carlos Hyde does while Leonard Fournette is out for a game. Akshay dropped Vance McDonald, and look who he picks up here, Derrick Henry.
Dude, the prodigal son returns.
Yeah, Duncan pointed that out. The prodigal son has returned to Akshay's team, and maybe he'll lead Akshay to one last king sausage this year. So we'll see that. Before the trade deadline, we had a couple of trades that both involved Rahi. First off, Rahi traded Golden Tate and Jordan Howard to Duncan for Julian Edelman. Quick thoughts. What did you think about that trade?
So Duncan has very, very deep, like we talked about my running back depth before all these injuries. Duncan, it was the same for Duncan, but for wide receivers. Duncan has very deep wide receiver depth. And honestly, there's just not a situation where he's going to start Julian Edelman. So he thought he'd get a little value for him. He's taking a shot on Jordan Howard, taking a shot on Golden Tate. And I think it works out for both of them. Duncan needs running back help. Maybe Jordan Howard starts popping off in these next few weeks. Has Golden Tate there as a safety net for wide receiver backup. And Rahi is very desperate to fill in the holes on his team. And Julian Edelman will do nicely. I mean, Julian Edelman's really consistent, scores about 10 to 15 points a week. So consistent wide receiver for Rahi. So I think it works out for both of them.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty fair trade, although I think I do like it slightly better for Rahi. I think he got the best player in the deal. I've serious question marks about Tate and Howard. But
if I had to pick one that won, I would say Rahi won. But if you look at Duncan's team, it's like he can afford to.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So. Like Rahi, I mean, Duncan wasn't starting Edelman at the time, so it doesn't matter. And finally, last trade, I myself traded Sony Michel to Rahi for Andrew Luck. And I just gotta say, like, I didn't love making the trade. But my philosophy is like at this point in the season, I'm trying to put the best starting lineup that I can. I'm less worried about depth because the season's almost over. I'm really just trying to carry myself to the end and beat the juggernauts that are in the league. So I wasn't going to start Sony Michel unless any of my players. I'm taking the risk that none of my players get injured in hopes that I got myself an elite quarterback that can lead me to victory. But I did not love making this trade. I got to be honest.
Yeah, it was a tough trade, but you really needed help at quarterback, and Andrew Luck has been throwing 3 passing touchdowns for the last like 8 weeks. So I think it fills in a nice hole in quarterback for you. And like you said, what's the point of Sony Michel if you're just going to sit on your bench the entire season? Minus injuries. But I think it's an okay. I think it helps you. I think it helps Rahi a little bit more because he needs a starting running back. So like you said, Rahi's team has been limping along. It's been working out, but his team might actually be pretty scary for playoffs. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he does this week. With all his new players. So, but all right, those are our key transactions of the week. Right now, we'll get quickly into our week 13 preview. So. Let's just honestly go down these and just kind of say who we think is going to win. So first matchup, myself versus Rahi. The current projection is 128 to 120 in favor of me. My projections have taken a bit of a hit since losing Fournette and Gordon in the same week. So knocked down a little bit, but still a decently high projection. Rahi's team with his new team has a 120 projection when most of the time his projection is around 100. So real quick, who do you think is going to win and have that elusive shot at a bye week?
I believe that you will victorious one. That is my final answer.
Wait, who'd you say you cut out?
Oh, I'm sorry. I believe that you will take this one.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. It's gonna be an interesting one. I think Rahi's team is gonna bounce back pretty well, so we'll have to see. But next matchup, we got another juicy one. We've got our co-host Cosmo against President Fight Milk Duncan, 136 to 124 in favor of Duncan. well, I guess you can't answer this, and who you think's gonna win because obviously you want yourself to win. But
No, I'm gonna win. Don't worry.
well, so if Cosmo wins, he basically, ruins can ruin Duncan's chance of getting a bye week, hurt his chances at least, but he can help me get a bye week or Rahi get a bye week. So um, I'm gonna say Duncan takes this one just because he gets his main players back from bye week, and I think Todd Gurley's going to be out to prove because of his poor performance in the highest scoring game of NFL history. I think he's going to be out for blood, and I think he's going to, drop like 35 points on you. So um, you survived Christian McCaffrey last week, but I don't think you'll survive Todd Gurley this week. So
I think Duncan's gonna lose to Daddy Akshay's Gimp.
oh,
I think
that's
that's
right.
gonna backfire on him, and
That's right.
he's
It's
gonna have to
Daddy
face that
Akshay's
embarrassment.
Gimp versus President Fight Milk.
All right, we'll see how that goes.
But our next matchup, we have Slavery Was Not a Choice. Nahum 7-5 going against Jimmy Garoppolo's Aaron 5-7. So Aaron's out of the playoffs, but he can affect seeding a little bit with beating Nahum. So do you think Nahum? This is actually projected 120 to 119 right now. So very close matchup in favor of Aaron. Who do you think wins on this one?
I think it's a tie. No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm gonna pick Nahum to win this one.
Yeah, I think Nahum bounces back from his awful loss against Akshay last week and beats Aaron this week. So I don't think Christian McCaffrey is going to be as quite on fire this next week. But all right, our next matchup, Akshay versus Cameron. Both teams out of the playoffs, so really just kind of playing for that consolation prize.
Yeah, they got some beef. They
do have some beef. So this is the matchup of the beef. You know what I'm saying? So 112 to 107 in favor of Akshay. Who do you think wins this feud between the two of them?
I think it's gonna be close, but I'm actually gonna go with Akshay. Eric Ebron, when Jack Doyle has been out, has seen 22% of the targets, and that is the third most out of any tight end in all of NFL. I think Ebron will lead Akshay to victory. I think it'll be a close one, though.
Yeah, I think Cameron's kind of defeated and deflated, and maybe won't put his best foot forward or whatever. And I think Akshay has something deep down that he feels like he needs to prove. So I think I'm going to go with Akshay as well this week. But all right, our final matchup, which could have some pretty big implications in seeding and the bye weeks and all that kind of stuff, is All I Need Is Saquon Taylor 1-11, 10th seed going against repeat offender Brandon 8-4, the 2 seed. Right now it's projected 102 to 101 in favor of Taylor, but Brandon has not moved his bye week people from last week into his starting lineup, so he will move Brandon Cooks and Tyreek Hill into his starting lineup, and maybe some other people he'll move around or something like that. So he will get about a 10-point boost for Tyreek Hill, and he'll get about a 6-point boost. So yeah, he'll go up to more of a projection of around 120 when all is said and done, if he remembers to put people in his lineup, which we know he's prone to forgetting. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and say, as much as I want Taylor to win and I believe in him to help me try to get that bye week or Rahi, I think Brandon's going to take this one. I think his team gets back to full strength, and I think he wants to make up for last week. So I think he takes this one. I think Taylor kind of used all of his mojo last week. Looking at his team, he's still got a decent team, but I think he kind of used all of his mojo last week. Although AJ Green, they said he might play. Josh Reynolds, he can put back in the lineup. He picked up TJ Yeldon. Maybe he's really good this week with Leonard Fournette out. So, crazy things can happen, but I think Brandon's going to take this one.
Yeah, I was dying laughing off to the side. I never took a look at Brandon's picture. He literally looks like a repeat offender. Creepy.
Yeah, no, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Chubby Chaser 420. I'm sorry, Brandon. I think he's going to take this one. That Tyreek Hill, man, you can't stop that guy.
Yeah, this Tyreek Hill has turned into this incredible force in the league, especially with Pat Mahomes. So it'll be an interesting one if Taylor can win. It'll definitely cause some crazy implications. So, but all right, there you have it, our Week 13 preview. Good luck to everyone this week. Let's get into last week's bold predictions. We had Cosmo say Crab Legs Winston was going to finish as the top QB this week and score over 40 points. He was wrong. He was 6th overall, so not a terrible week, but only scoring 22.9 points. Myself, I said Brandon follows up his stellar king sausage performance with a nasty, stanky sausage, and I was wrong, but Brandon was very close. He barely beat Rahi to avoid the award, 79 to 75. Definitely scored a point total that's deserving of a stanky sausage, but luckily his opponent scored even less, so Brandon narrowly avoids it, but I'm counting it as kind of a half win for us on our bold predictions because he was very close, and minus a Kiki QT hamstring injury, he might have had the stinky sausage. So, but Taylor last week said that the trash squad is going to win all their games. That's Cameron, Aaron, and Akshay, and Akshay won, but both Cameron and Aaron lost. So Taylor, you were wrong as well. But let's get right into those Week 13 bold predictions.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and get mine. Originally, I put like Duncan was going to win. He's going to get his King Sausage Award, and I predicted that he would score 200 points. But nah, Duncan's going to lose to me, and he's not even going to make 100 points. So I'm not going to do that as my bold prediction. My actual bold prediction, kind of following up on the theme of you, Danny, losing some of your running backs and having some bad luck. My prediction is, unfortunately, I think some more bad luck is going to come your way.
Oh, God.
And my bold prediction is that Aaron, Mr. Green Jones, is going to get suspended again for smoking those greens before he plays his next game.
Oh, no.
We'll see. We'll see how accurate that is.
Dude, he's been doing well. Maybe he's feeling a little high and he wants to get a little high. You know what I'm saying? And he gets
he's
caught,
rewarding himself for some good games.
Oh man, dude, that would just cripple my team, dude. I had so much running back depth, and it's going away by the minute. So we'll have to see what happens. But I'm gonna say my bold prediction of Week 13 is that the scenario is gonna play out, and all playoff teams are gonna finish at 8-5.
Oh shoot!
So there is a scenario this week where if Cosmo wins, Brandon loses, I win, and Nahum wins, every single team in playoffs will be 8-5, and it'll be all down to those tiebreakers for the seeding. But it'll just be so interesting and kind of describes our league and how close it is at that point. But I think the scenario is going to play out, and all teams will finish 8-5 this week.
All right, that'll be.
There you have it. Week 13 bold predictions. Aaron Jones gonna be caught smoking that weed, getting high, gets suspended from Danny's team, and then I say all teams in the playoffs will finish as 8-5 before going into the playoffs. So there you have it. That is episode 13 of the Sausage Bowl podcast. I know we went a little long, but it was more of a chill episode. Just kind of wanted to dig deeper on a lot of segments before we get into the playoffs and things start getting crazy. I apologize at any moment if I choked on my words or anything. I think I'm coming down a little bit of sickness here, and it's kind of hard to talk, but my throat's hurting a little bit. So, but yeah, just mostly wanted to have a chill podcast for you guys moving into the playoff weeks, dig a little bit deeper into stuff. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Cosmo, any last words for our audience?
Yeah, I want to, since the playoffs are coming, just want to remind the league of the fantasy payouts for the winners. I think this is a good time to just remind everyone. And typically what we did in previous seasons was first place would get $70, second place would get $20, and third place would get $10, would get their money back. This year's a little bit different because we all put in an extra $10 for that trophy, and there was an extra $11 left over from the trophy. So I think what we all agreed originally bought it, and if you guys have any dissenting opinions on that or to be done differently, you just let us know in the group chat. But I think what we originally agreed on is just adding that extra $11 to first place prize. So first place would win $81, second place would still get $20, and third place would get $10.
Yeah, I think that's what we agreed on.
Yeah.
So sounds good. First place can 8.1 times their money. Second place doubles their money, and third place gets to take home their money without losing any. And everyone else, lost $10. So, and now that we're all kind of getting into jobs and stuff, maybe it's time to start upping the ante a little bit, you know. But
next year, $1,000 buy-in.
Oh God, I don't know if I'll be in on that one, but all right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in for episode 13 of the Sasha Bowl podcast. Good luck to everyone on this last week. We'll see how the playoff seeding finishes out, and we will see you guys next week for our playoff primer. So, thank you to everyone for listening, and we will see you next week.
Ooh.